Ladies and gentlemen, I know we're amid global panic with the coronavirus still at large, but what if I told you there's a new pandemic sweeping this world, and this one's got a TikTok? I'm talking, of course, about the OK Boomer dancing Bernie girl from Twitter. She's taken over Twitter like Skynet taking over the military in the Terminator franchise, and much like Skynet, she's weaponized it. She has inadvertently turned simps into a weapon. You got men blocking their wives on Twitter so they can simp for her in private. You have brave soldiers fighting for her love on the front lines of every single comment thread ever. It's fucking madness. It's crazy out there. It's true hysteria and quite the phenomenon. She's gone up 120,000 Twitter followers in the last 4 days. You can't log on to Twitter without reading about it or seeing it. It's crazy. Let me go ahead and show you the clip now.
Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer, yeah, boomer. Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer, yeah, boomer. Whatever you say, boomer. Okay, boomer.
I don't know what Kids Bop album the song is from, but it's quite the jam. Now you'll notice she's wearing a Bernie shirt with a hashtag Bernie thing. I don't like to get political, don't know fuck all about politics, not gonna pretend like I do, but in this case, it wasn't about politics, it's about politics. The Twitter audience only cared about obsessing over the girl, nothing political. I mean, maybe Bernie cared. I mean, maybe Bernie went to her Twitch streams and dropped a fat 50 gift subs. I don't really know there. But on Twitter, they only cared about the girl, not the politics behind it or anything like that. Congratulations to her, though. Her name is Nico. She blew up because of this, so good work for her. I don't know about the song. I mean, the song's kind of fucking weird. It just sounds like Tommy Pickles and the gang getting together to do karaoke. I don't really like the song. But you can't argue with the results. This shit popped off. And like I said, this spawned an actual conflict, a real war that we'll most likely be reading about on Wikipedia in the next 2 or 3 years, where you had the simps that really thought that they could fall in love, that the girl would fall in love with them if they kept trying hard enough to defend her and fight her battles on Twitter, versus the people that didn't like the TikTok dance, people that just don't like TikToks. They went to battle. They fought on multiple Twitter threads across multiple days. It was bloody conflict, ruthless and vicious, until today.
I recently got me and my boyfriend shirts, Bernie shirts.
Did you catch that? I'll play it again.
I recently got me and my boyfriend shirts.
Me and my boyfriend, she said. The queen betrayed the simps. Nay, she outright brought them outside and publicly executed them. She announced she had a boyfriend, and this was when the peace treaty was signed, where both sides said, you know what, we don't have a chance, let's just move the fuck on. So while this may have ended the majority of the weaponized simping, there were still some remnants of soldiers on Twitter that didn't know the war was over. Kind of like the Japanese holdout soldiers, where they still defended islands and shit for like 60 years after World War II was over because they didn't know. That's kind of what exists on Twitter right now. Of course, as always, there were those really fucking creepy posts claiming that they had the girl's nudes. It was just trolls where they had a completely blank picture that made it seem like the picture wasn't loading. So in all these posts, there were some really desperate, pathetic weirdos that were begging to get the photos, you know, DM, Discord, like this guy here fucking factory resets his phone. I'm surprised he didn't bring it into the Apple store to see if he could help him. It's some really sad shit, but there was a lot of this going on as well. Really, it's been a wild time on Twitter with this simp war that's both started and ended within a week, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention in case you haven't been on Twitter, just to bring you up to speed. And if you haven't been on Twitter, congratulations, that shit's a real swamp, a big old fucking cesspool, but I did find this to be pretty entertaining stuff. That's about it, so yeah. Usually when I talk about Twitch drama, it's goofier topics like that girl who was banned for queefing into her mic. And by the way, she was kind of a pioneer, like an actual innovator in the field. She was like the Tesla of farting. And the Queef Queen actually started a trend on Twitch for a little while, where recently ASMR streamers were farting into their mics for sub goals. So unfortunately for the valedictorian of vaginal air expulsion, she was just a little early to this. She just was ahead of her time. Had she been queefing during this meta, she could have probably popped off on subs, but she got there too soon. Also, those streamers that were farting into their mics also got temp bans for it, so the result was the same, but she wasn't able to squeeze as much juice from it as they were able to. But anyway, this is not one of those goofier topics. Today we're talking about something actually serious, like genuinely awful. Yesterday I received quite a few emails and mentions on Twitter letting me know about a streamer who was allegedly exposed for grooming underage girls and being a predator, shit like that. And for some reason, the guy that was accused of all these things mentioned me. In this video on his channel, it says, hopefully Charlie will make a video on this and help prove my innocence. He's a homie. I don't know if this is about me, but a lot of people seem to think that it was. I want to make it clear, I don't know this guy, so I haven't like defended him or anything like that, and I don't know why people are emailing me asking why I'm defending him when I haven't done or even said anything about this until right now. It's important to know that all of these are just allegations at the moment, nothing is proven, but seems like some pretty hard evidence. This isn't just some like Twitter dog shit where one anonymous account says, in 2013 at MegaCon Orlando at the washing machine enthusiast booth, Soda Poppin was groping on my nutsack, fondling it a little bit aggressively. It felt good at first, then it got a little weird when he started tugging on my nutsack hairs. And, you know, ever since then, I haven't been the same. Soda Poppin's a predator. You know, it's not just like baseless nonsense or anything. Like, there is real evidence against this streamer for the things that they're being accused of. So since that video title has led people to believe that I'm somehow involved in this whole thing, I thought it was at least worth talking about. So I want to go over the full lore of the situation, as well as some things about it that just don't add up about all of it. So this all started with a thread on Livestream Fails, LSF, also known as the home to XQC's clips. If you miss an XQC stream, you can just check Livestream Fails and see every single moment of it posted there on the front page of it. Of course, I'm only kidding, there's Ms. Kiff clips as well. But last night there was an anomaly. Some kind of like fucking solar eclipse had occurred on Livestream Fails where the top post wasn't XQC or Ms. Kiff, it was this. And it's about this user talking about their experience with a streamer. And you can read it for yourself, but the gist of it is they were following this channel in 2018 and randomly decided to check in on them that evening. And he believes that his name must have sounded similar to a girl's name on the platform because the streamer reached out asking if they were a girl and asking to chat, and then the following ensued. I'm blurring out the streamer's name everywhere just in case this all does turn out to be false, a hoax, or even worse, a malicious attempt to ruin one innocent person's career. So I just want you to keep that in mind, that that's why I'm doing that, just because none of this is completely confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt. He reached out using Twitch Whispers, which is akin to using AOL Instant Messenger to get in contact with somebody. No one has used Twitch Whispers in years. This was probably the first time this was even activated since Twitch launched. Nobody uses Whispers, so, I mean, call this guy old-fashioned. I mean, this was pretty wild. I didn't even know this even still existed. It's an archaic system. More people use carrier pigeons than Twitch Whispers. But as you can see, he gets in touch. Are you a girl? Yes. Why do you ask? Want to DM on Discord, and then tries to add them. So they decide to add them on Discord, and this is the conversation they have. He asks what state and how old they are, so basically some Omegle shit, ASL, age, sex, location. They respond with 17, 18 soon. Streamer says, really nice, young, I like that, I could fly you to me, maybe. And then the conversation really starts to look like something you'd hear Chris Hansen reading. They ask when they started to follow. They say, check in the chat and I'll type something. So the streamer responds with, when you were a teenie then, hee hee. I actually haven't heard or seen the word teenie since I was a fucking teenie, like 11 or 12 years old. So that was quite a blast from the past. And then this is where it gets very fucking weird. The streamer says, let me show you a little vid, are you home? And you can probably already guess the video that they send. I'll go ahead and spoil the surprise. It is not an EDP situation where he sends a picture of his shit. He sends no shit pics. This is a video of him jerking off, beating on his meat. Just playing the skin flute. Obviously won't be showing even a pixel of that video. From there they say, would you love it, honey, if you could sit on me and feel my hard dick in your pussy? Hee hee, bunch of hearts. Well, that's kind of sweet, right? I mean, that's like Valentine's Day kind of shit right there. And then he says that he's horny, as if that was a secret. I mean, there's nothing left to the imagination here. I mean, he sent a video of him jerking off. I would imagine there's some horniness levels reaching critical mass. You go in fucking nuclear meltdown mode of horniness. Then again, it would feel so good for you, baby. Would you like to? Hee hee, babe. And then that's when the poster says, I'm making an LSF thread right now. You like grooming young girls. I'll get you banned everywhere. So he basically just says that he's making the thread about all of this. And then in response to him revealing that he is not a 17-year-old girl and is in fact going to be reporting this behavior on Reddit, the streamer responds with something I can't show anything of, because he drops the N-word a few times, but he basically says, "I knew you were fake," and then says the N-word quite a few times. So I'm not showing any of that, but that's where those screenshots end. He then gives a little evidence to prove that the Discord account that he's sharing in the screenshots belongs to the streamer, and that's kind of where that interaction completed. In the comments, other people were finding video clips where the streamer was asking how he can delete every video on his hard drive at the push of a button once all of this was coming to light. It seemed like he really wanted to find a program to scrub his hard drive of all of his videos all at once, which is a little weird. Some of his old tweets were dug up where he was talking about having sex with 14-year-olds is less of a crime than stealing Coca-Cola, as well as some other really fucking gross tweets. But I'd like to talk about a few things here. On LSF, there has been a few times in the past where a poster has made a thread about a streamer they don't like, accusing them of some horrible things that turned out to be completely false. Even though the evidence made a lot of sense, they'd have like screenshots of shit. What they didn't show was what actually transpired, being like extremely manipulative, lying and stuff like that in order to get that kind of reaction and make that kind of narrative on LSF in order to just farm karma points or hurt the streamer they don't like. I'm not saying that's what happened here, I'm just saying this kind of thing has happened in the past and was proven to be a hoax. Like the fucking Bigfoot or Satchmo, shit like that. Right now, this is the only post and only person talking about this streamer like this. I can't find anything else from anyone sharing a similar experience they've had with this streamer or anything even close to this kind of experience with them. Which strikes me as a little odd, because if he is grooming underage girls so actively that he would reach out to someone in his chat he thought was a girl based on just their Twitch name, you would think there'd be other victims that would come forward and share a similar experience with this person, but I haven't seen anything like that. It is possible that this is just so new that no one else has had a chance to come forward with that kind of information. This is less than a day old, so that's definitely a possibility, but it does strike me as odd that he's so active that he'll reach out to someone that he even has like a small fucking smell of a female in his chat and reach out and like start jerking off for them, that it would only be this one isolated incident. That would strike me as like a pattern, not just like a one-time thing. So I would have expected more people to have similar stories, but I haven't seen anything like that yet. So for now, this is all we have to go off of. And the tweets are extremely suspicious, but what really strikes me as odd is that the profile picture is like the stereotypical neckbeard thing, like very self-aware neckbeard anime weeb. It really seems like a parody account. On Twitter, there are people that are open pedophiles, like that's not uncommon for Twitter, but it strikes me as weird that the profile pic would be like the neckbeard people make fun of, like the anime shit neckbeard thing while saying these things. It really seems like it was supposed to be satire, and I don't know if it is or not. Either way, it's dog shit satire, but the account's been deleted, so I can't really go through and look at all of it myself. There's only a couple screenshots of the individual tweets now. And from what I was reading from the active members in his community during all of this, he wanted to be on LSF. Apparently they were saying he always wanted to be the top post on LSF, so it almost seems like it could have even been manufactured to a certain degree, which would be the dumbest fucking way of going about that, to have you be labeled a pedophile by so many people in the Twitch community. I don't think does anything good for your streaming career, if that really is what was going on here. So I don't know if I really believe that, but there are some things in this that just don't make sense to me. The Discord having no profile pic, immediately sharing his Discord and then going 0 to 100. Hey, where do you live? Do you want to see me put my finger in my urethra? Just fucking tugging on his meat real hard after like 4 text messages back and forth. Like, it all just seems really fishy to me. And his chat going on about how you fell for Malord's schemes. They kept saying, like, Malord, treating him like he was some kind of supervillain mastermind and we were just pawns in his game. Like, this is exactly what he wanted, which wouldn't make him a mastermind and make him a master fucking idiot, because this is such a dumb idea for, like, publicity, if that really is what's going on here. It just really, all of it just doesn't add up to me. Like, to be so open about, pedophile predator shit, that just doesn't make any sense. There's also this, so the poster was replying to a comment which is now deleted, and he says he's been famous in his chat for grooming young girls on Discord. When he whispered me, I wanted to see if that's true. That statement directly contradicts what he says in the opening statement in the thread, where he says he just randomly decided to go to the stream and then he just typed something in chat and then the dude reached out to him. Like, that's a little different. Now he's making it sound like he was in there with like a mission, like he was going in there as the fucking vigilante and was finally going to expose him, which is completely different from the narrative that he started with in the original post. He had also recently been banned and had only just been unbanned like less than a week ago, and then all of this happens. Like, it's just so many things in the story seem so strange. And then to, like, on that same night talk about, like, how do I delete videos on my hard drive, talking about, like, I need to scrub the hard drive, every video needs to go, someone quick help me, I need to get rid of all these videos. That doesn't strike me as someone who's, like, actually panicking about all of the accusations. That strikes me as someone that's trying to farm karma and attention out of this. It really does seem like the behavior of a troll, like an extremely edgy, really misguided troll. I mean, because now there's, like, articles about it that are talking about his alleged pedophilic behavior that he's exhibited, you know, over the course of like the last 5 or 6 hours. Those articles have been coming up. So it's like a really bad idea if this really was the plan. But overall, I just wanted to talk about this because for some reason I was mentioned in it, or at least people perceived that I was mentioned in this. So I at least wanted to talk about it and give like the full breakdown of everything going on. The whole situation's fucked up no matter what is actually going on here. And if everything from the LSF post is true and that's exactly how it all happened, then this is an extremely serious case where this guy needs to be off of Twitch ASAP, as well as have some kind of investigation done, because this is some really fucked up shit. I just wanted to talk about it, and yeah, that's about it. See ya. Secondhand embarrassment is a very real phenomenon. It occurs when you witness something that is so grossly turbo cringe that your body has a fight or flight response and fills you with shame from just having watched it, even though you weren't directly involved in the situation. I think the number one cause of secondhand embarrassment is bad stand-up comedy. So, you know, like, what's the deal with airline food? Salt shakers, you fill them up, and then where does it all go? Like, when a stand-up set bombs, I feel like most people get embarrassed for the person up there. But today, I got so much secondhand embarrassment, I feel like I got a year's worth of shame in one afternoon, thanks to the TikTok congressional hearing that happened. This was an absolute mockery of the entire country. It was absolutely foul. It was painful to watch. So I'd like to show you just a few of the clips. The whole thing was about 5.5 hours long, and I can't imagine anyone can make it to the end without puking. It's brutal. It has everything you're probably imagining: tech illiteracy and horrible questions out the wazoo, all wrapped up into one 5-hour endurance test of the human patience. In a nutshell, there's been a lot of controversy about TikTok and TikTok bans, like banning on government phones, which I do agree with. I don't think there's any argument to be made that a fucking government or someone in power person should have TikTok on their phone just because of potential security risks associated with it. And this has expanded into a lot of other big debates around it. I am not a personal fan of the platform in general. I don't really use it that often. Plus, I think it's been extremely detrimental to the actual mental health and attention span of human beings. Because now, I don't know if you go on TikTok often, if you go on TikTok and it's someone just talking about something or a clip of something, there is always Subway Surfers, Rocket League, or GTA playing underneath it in order to keep your attention, because people need such constant stimulation and jingling keys. If there's not like 3 separate videos of like bars of soap getting cut for satisfying videos, or Rocket League freestyling while the core video itself is playing, they click off. That shit is just so pathetic. It's actual brain rot behavior. I am very curious to see in 10 years if that's going to be the commonplace for everything in the world. Like if movies now are going to be like playing a movie, but then also underneath it, another separate movie, making sure that your attention is captured. Like, it's so baffling just how far the attention span of humans is degrading, where they can't watch a fucking 30-second video without 3 other videos also playing to keep their attention. But with all of that being said, I still don't want to see it nationally banned or any shit like that. And the reason's very simple. Because I like a world where people have the freedom to choose what they do with their whole life, pretty much. So if you want to download TikTok, you should. Even in spite of potential security risks to your privacy or whatever, that should entirely be on the individual's choice. Does the entertainment the platform offer outweigh the potential security risks to your data being sold or whatever? That's up to the person to decide. That's my ideal scenario where people have the freedom to make their own fucking choices there when it comes to some shit like this. I've made it clear I'm no fan of TikTok. I am also very confident that there is a huge level of like spyware with TikTok associated with it, more than the CEO lets on. But holy shit, this congressional hearing or whatever has done nothing but make the CEO of TikTok look like a patient saint. Like an actual Zen master to deal with the unhinged lunacy and out-of-touch questions those fucking fossils were throwing his way. It blew my mind. It blew my fucking mind. Her. Oh my god, she's so dumb. She kept asking him questions, but instead of letting him answer, she'd just say, yes, yes, yes. And then she pulled up a random shitpost on TikTok like, you see this threat? Oh, fuck me. Yeah, so she pulled this up and she's like, look at this. Outrageous. It's not a viral post or anything, by the way.
That video was posted 41 days ago. As you can see, it is captioned me as F.
Dude who asked about TikTok using Wi-Fi? I don't remember, but I think they were trying to make a bigger point. And this is really giving a very charitable bone to the person who asked the question. I think what they were getting at with asking about Wi-Fi is he was trying to state that if one device is connected to a network, it can access everything on that network, which it can. But he couldn't ask the question because I don't think he really fully understood it. But again, I'm doing a very charitable service trying to even make some sense out of that awful question. This accomplished nothing except making their CEO look better. Full-heartedly believe there is a lot more fishy shit at play on the back end of TikTok, but they did not even get close to the bottom of it because they couldn't even wrap their head around what an app on your phone is. It's tragic.
Mr. Zhang Fuping is the editor-in-chief.
He's not.
My colleague, Representative
Just doesn't even let him say it or talk.
minutes ago exposed that TikTok and ByteDance share legal teams. You confirmed this, correct?
Our general counsel is
Yes.
an
Yes or
American lawyer,
Yes.
veteran of Microsoft.
Also, my
many
colleague, Representative Latta, confirmed that your parent
Fucking
company,
worthless.
ByteDance, currently can access user data. Yes?
years. We have to be more
Yes.
specific.
Yes.
After
You
Project
say-
Texas, no.
I'm not asking after Project Texas, I'm asking now. Yes.
Some user data is public data, Congresswoman, which
So
means
you
everybody
confirm that.
can search
What's
for it on the
interesting to
internet.
me is that you have used the word transparency over a half a dozen times.
So, doesn't seem to understand that when you ask a question, you should wait for an answer instead of fill in your own blanks here. So, her asking about the data that they're accessing, he talks about the public data, which is something every app in the world accesses, even that computer she's on right there. I bet she's logged in on Twitter. That uses all of your fucking data too. I bet she has a Facebook account. That not only accesses all of your data, it sells it too. All of these apps do that. What they needed to get to the bottom of is more in line with like what is TikTok specifically doing with that data and how it relates to like the CCP and shit like that. But instead they're so hung up on like public data. You're accessing public profiles. That's creepy. That's something one of the guys said. It's so fucking crazy. And for some reason they don't even let him answer, so they get no answers. They get nothing out of this. It is fucking worthless. It is a complete waste of time. They said they were watching children's public profiles, which was creepy. Everything's watching every public profile ever. That's the whole point of it being public. It gets scanned in these systems. That's not exclusive to TikTok. Twitter does it. Facebook does it. YouTube does it. Everything does it. Literally everything. We threw away our privacy long, long ago. TikTok is just a little more nefarious, potentially, with what it uses that data for, at least based on like reports from a year or two ago. Not meant to be informational or useful, it's meant to grandstand for campaigns. It's actually tame compared to everything else, and, well, I guess maybe. It's still so stupid, though, because this doesn't do anything to further anyone's agenda here. Everyone that asked him questions today looks like a bumbling fucking buffoon. A genuine moron. Like, I feel like all this does is shake people's confidence in their elected representatives here. They couldn't ask a good question. Were they like this with Mark Zuckerberg? Yes, they were. It was just as bad with Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg sat in the same hot seat as this guy did, and he got bombarded with just as stupid questions. If I remember correctly, one of the Facebook questions was, do I need internet to connect to Facebook? Or something like that. We are not getting anything out of this garbage. What do you think their approach should be on this topic? Hand it off to people that understand it. Clearly, this woman doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. At all. She has no clue what's going on right there. And she clearly doesn't even want to get answers because she's too busy answering herself. So get someone who gets it, have them ask the questions, and come up with the questions to begin with. Delegate. This is clearly not her strong suit. She's not even old! That you can't just keep using the excuse of they're all fucking geriatric. She is not old. She is willfully stupid. And still tries to act like an authority on the topic. She pulled up a fucking 400 view shitpost to try and use it as a point that completely fell flat. And then doesn't even let the guy answer her questions because she's too busy answering herself. Now, while she may have come to this hootenanny unprepared and made me ashamed to be a Floridian, she did mention something that I think is important to talk about briefly, which is Project Texas. Project Texas is something TikTok did to appease the US. In a quick nutshell, Project Texas is US user data being sent to Oracle, which is on American soil, as opposed to going anywhere else. So all of the US user data will now be on American soil, and Oracle kind of oversees the whole thing.
On a device in one pocket, but downloaded on your device in the other doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I believe Congress and DoD should address the continued use of TikTok on military installations as well as any use that depicts U.S. military operations. Mr. Chu, does TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network?
Only if the user turns on the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, I may not understand the...
So if I have a TikTok app...
Again, this is being very charitable. I think the point he was trying to make is... when it accesses the Wi-Fi, it has access to all of your devices that are within that network, which every device that accesses your Wi-Fi does. That is factual. That is true. Which is actually something that happened to Kaya. He downloaded a burglar broke in and downloaded a torrent, and it came with a virus, which infected multiple devices that were on his network. It is known that when you are on a Wi-Fi network, it connects to more than just the single thing that's connected to it. It's everything there. So I think his point was, can it access my other devices? Which is why he's talking about, like, downloading on a device next to me. Shit like that. But the way he asked that question is so bafflingly stupid that even the TikTok CEO's like, fucking obviously, it's gonna access your Wi-Fi if you turn it on. Right? Like, it's just craziness. So have someone who understands what the fuck they're talking about be the one to ask these questions. I think you gave him too much credit. He probably thinks Wi-Fi is a radio. Again, it's a very charitable interpretation of what I think he could have been trying to say. I could be way off and giving way too much credit there. I don't know. For the sake of clarity, I actually think that guy's follow-up question kind of hints more at what I was saying. Even though it's still poorly asked and his follow-up question is still poorly phrased, I do think with a high level of confidence, the thing he was trying to get at is TikTok going to be accessing all kinds of things on my network outside of just the one device that I'm using right now to connect to it? I think is what he really wanted to get at, but he didn't know how to get to that topic effectively. So he ended up making a very silly question out of the whole thing, which really sums up the entire hearing. Just silly questions that didn't do anything at all. They didn't get any answers. They didn't get to the bottom of any real questions people have. It was just a genuine fucking circus. Just an absolute clown show. That's really about it. See ya. When was the last time you heard something about Twitch that wasn't overwhelmingly negative? I can't even remember. It's been so long. Trying to remember a time where the Twitch higher-ups seemed in touch with the community is like trying to remember a dream. Like, it's just extremely hard. How long it's been since Twitch was doing things that people generally liked. For years now, it's just been rolling out features that nobody in the world has ever asked for and that contribute nothing to the platform. Anyone remember just a couple months back when they had their version of Super Chats, where they would take a paid message and then put it underneath the stream where nobody in the world could see it. So you were actually just throwing money into the void, just flushing it down your toilet, basically. God rest the soul of elevated chat. I'm sure all 3 people who ever used that feature are still distraught and mourning the loss of such an incredible monetization tool. Like, it is so misguided. Another feature that they've rolled out that I'm sure none of you even knew existed is something called Reacts, where you as a viewer while watching a stream can react to it, and all it does is you can send an emote at that very second you click React to let the streamer know what you thought of that moment, that second. So that way when the streamer goes to their dashboard, they can click on the Reacts and see like, oh, at minute 55 of my stream, I had 3 pogs. That must have been a really good moment. Like, it's fucking worthless features. It is nothing but horrible decisions from this company. They're making more bad choices than a college student who just took his first shot of Fireball. But unlike the college student, Twitch isn't drunk. They're just stupid. I'm getting heated. Of course, not everyone at Twitch is this silly. Like, not everyone's going wacko mode with these ideas. There are real people at Twitch that understand the platform, but they don't have the same power that the higher-ups do that are rolling out these awful decisions. Why am I talking about this? Well, it's because they've just revealed 2 new awful decisions over the last 24 hours. Now, one of them, admittedly, is not their fault. This comes with the layoffs. I will show you some clips from last night's stream where I really dive in deep on those. But the other one that not a lot of people have realized yet is they also made a statement on their sub-revenue split. You might remember, I also mentioned it recently in another video. Last year, towards the end of the year, Twitch announced that it would be getting rid of the 70-30 sub-revenue deal that they had with streamers. So now it would be 50-50 across the board, 70-30 would no longer exist, which means Twitch now offers the lowest amount of revenue to streamers in the entire industry. They're now at the bottom of the food chain when it comes to sub-splits across the board of every streaming platform. And by a wide margin. YouTube is 70-30. I mean, even Kick is like 90-10, I think, or even 95-5, I don't remember. But they offer the lowest split of subs, and it's not even close. And they really don't have any tools in place to try and make up for that, so instead they double down on ads, which is worse for everyone. Streamers don't like running ads. Viewers don't like watching ads. Thus, you're immediately killing the 2 people that make streaming work, streamers and viewers. You are rolling out things that neither side want. Their Galaxy Brain solution to the taking 20% away from the streamers is to force them to run more ads if they want to make up for that lost revenue. And streamers don't want to do that because that drives away their viewers. That's bad. I mean, sometimes the viewers will come back, but when you run an ad on Twitch, you lose viewers. It's just how it works because no one wants to sit through fucking 10 unskippable ads, so they'll go somewhere else. Maybe they come back, maybe they don't. And this is extremely detrimental because of pre-roll ads that play when you click on a stream for the first time. This is the nail in the coffin for a lot of smaller streamers where even if they're doing really cool content, a lot of people never find it because when they click on that stream and they get fucking 2 back-to-back 30-second ads, they just instantly leave and they'll never go back. So clearly it was a very controversial decision, one that a lot of people took issue with, and now Twitch is saying that we heard everything everyone was saying. It was a very loud conversation, and we laughed at all of you, and we're spitting in your face. We made the right decision, nerds. It's going to be 50-50 forever. So they're patting each other on the back, slapping their ass, saying, good game out there, team. They are taking their victory lap, letting us all know that 50-50 is here to stay forever, and then try and elaborate on why it's a good thing and how they're going to change their monetization model in order to make Twitch the #1 place to stream when it comes to revenue for streamers. And in the interview, they said, we talk a lot about how we're in this together, and part of that is innovation. We are committed to continuing to improve our monetization products and building new monetization products, and at the end of the day, we're committed to increasing the amount of money a streamer earns. Wow, such noble intentions with absolutely no way of delivering. One of the things Twitch is really going buck wild with is their ad incentive program, and here's what they had to say about that. Surprisingly, they did recognize that the intrusiveness of ads on Twitch is a big issue, one that they're trying to work on. So they said the acceptance and engagement on the ad incentive program far exceeded our expectations, so streamers are clearly seeing the value in running ads now. I like how they're saying that like a mark of pride. Streamers aren't happy about that, by the way. It's just that's their only option. In fact, if you go on Twitter and spend even just a couple of seconds typing in the Twitch ad incentive program, you'll see a lot of people outraged at it because a lot of the asks are huge for the ad incentive program, up to like fucking 7 minutes worth of ads. I've seen them. Like, for example, Caleb, Just Joel, streams often. He's shown me his ad incentive program. Rex Gunderson, he's shown me his. Like, the asks are not small, and the pay they're offering isn't huge for smaller streamers. Even in the rare instance where a couple of larger streamers posted their ad incentives where it was a lot of money for like fucking 6 or 7 minutes of ads per hour, they still, most of them chose not to do it because of how intrusive all of the ads were to the viewers. It just makes the experience of watching their stream awful. Having to be inundated with fucking 7 minutes of ads per hour is a lot when it comes to streaming. So a lot of them still just didn't choose to do it. The only reason there is any level of acceptance with the ad incentive program is because you have forced people to swallow this shit. Since there's now no longer a 70-30 deal or anything like that, the amount of sub revenue you can generate is significantly less. In fact, you'd probably make more money buying and reselling eggs right now than you would trying to rely on sub money on Twitch. Now going forward, Minton acknowledged the state of ads on the platform isn't perfect yet, and the company has taken steps to reduce their intrusiveness through static, in-player ads and disabling pre-roll ads if creators display at least 3 minutes of ads per hour. We're really thinking about ad placement generally and ensuring that, as a viewer, when you're looking for a new community, that we're reducing the impact of ads. So they do recognize how it's very bad for small streamers when pre-rolls are playing. And right now their solution is, we'll just play more ads during your stream and we'll get rid of pre-rolls. Like, it's literally Ouroboros, just constantly fucking feeding on ads and eating its own tail. Everything is all about ads, and it's still intrusive. Like, it is still there. Like, pre-rolls will exist unless you are running ads throughout your stream. So, I still also don't understand why skippable ads aren't on the platform when those are pretty commonplace. Like, I feel like skippable ads would at least help alleviate some of the headache there and make the ad breaks a little more palatable. But still, another thing that they mention is like all of their innovative tools they're working on to help creators monetize their content. They don't really shine a bright light on what all of those new innovations are looking like, though I do imagine one of them they're talking about, because they do briefly mention like sponsorship opportunities through streaming on Twitch, and I think what they're talking about there is like something similar to the bounty board. Bounty board is something that's existed on Twitch for quite a few years now. Basically, companies will pay Twitch to have streamers of X amount of viewers stream their product for however many hours, and Twitch will give a portion of that money that the brand is paid to the streamer. I mean, in theory, like, the concept is actually pretty solid, right? If Twitch is going to facilitate brand deals like that and just put it right on your dashboard, that's a pretty decent idea. But most people have woken up to the fact that the deal is shit. Twitch is taking the lion's share of that brand deal, and the streamer is getting very little comparatively to what they would get if they just chased down the same deal themselves or with like an agency or something. Like, if you're going to do a stream deal through Twitch, you're better off just clicking on the bounty board to see who's looking for streamers and then reach out to the company yourself, or have your manager or whatever agency you're with reach out to them for you and let them know you're interested, because you'll get a much better rate that way. Because Twitch has taken almost all of it. Like, I don't know many people that still use the bounty board, because most people have realized this now. It is paying significantly less than had you just gotten the deal through any other means. So it's a decent idea in theory if Twitch wasn't taking so much of the brand deal. So I've been ranting about this for a while, but you can see there's a lot of problems that plague Twitch when it comes to streaming on there and trying to make a living off of it, which is why so many streamers are choosing to stream elsewhere. YouTube or Kick really are the two main competitors at the moment that people are switching to or starting with. And it's because you have a much better chance of making a living on those two platforms at the moment. Discoverability on Twitch used to be one of its strongest benefits, but currently Twitch doesn't really have an edge in that category anymore either, mainly because of what I mentioned earlier, pre-rolls. If you're towards the bottom and someone's willing to take a chance on your content, they click on it and they get a pre-roll, they left. They're most likely not going to stick around for that. Whereas if you started on YouTube or Kick, you just fire up your stream and your content's immediately accessible to anyone who might find it. So yeah, like, you just stand a better chance of getting found elsewhere outside of Twitch at the moment, I would argue at least. So there's a lot of problems plaguing Twitch right now. They've made it very clear that they're not exactly turning the profit they'd like to be turning, and the decisions they're making to try and be more profitable are only hurting their platform even further. So let's talk about the layoffs now. Twitch laid off 400 employees yesterday, and what's crazy is the employees don't even know who got laid off yet. So the employees are still fucking trembling in fear, wondering if they even have a job anymore. But this isn't a Twitch exclusive problem. I'm sure all of you know, all of the big tech businesses, the tech industry as a whole, experienced a lot of bloat over the last few years because of COVID. They hired a lot of people. Now they're firing a lot of those people because they don't need that many employees and they're not utilizing that many employees. Thus, they're making a lot of cuts. Amazon laid off like 9,000 people yesterday, so of course the 400 laid off at Twitch were a part of that. Yeah, we can talk about the Twitch stuff now. I see a lot of people coming after Twitch for the layoff. They laid off 400 staff members. I think it's very interesting that Dan Clancy, the new CEO of Twitch, is the one to make this announcement as opposed to like a parting gift from Emmett Shear, the previous CEO. That was kind of surprising because this is not really how you want to start your reign as the Twitch CEO with 400 jobs taken away. But it's also not their fault. Amazon laid off 9K. So people need to realize that since Twitch is part of Amazon, this is part of the overall Amazon layoffs. I don't think Twitch itself was the one that kind of spearheaded it. Though I will say I think Twitch is a bloated company. I feel like losing 500 staff members isn't necessarily going to change too much about it. But I could be wrong. Maybe these are like really crucial members. But what's kind of fucked up about it is apparently the Twitch staff don't even know who's been fired. It sounds like huge corporate shit. Yeah, that is kind of wild that the employees themselves don't know if they've been laid off or not yet. I feel like they probably should have told them that they're fired before making the announcement. 400 employees fired out of 1,200 is fucking rough. Is that how many Twitch has? Is it 1,200? I don't know why, but I thought it was more. But yeah, I mean, it's not a small number by any means. But I do think Twitch was very bloated. I don't think you needed that many employees to begin with. They're clearly not utilizing them to their full potential. Like, I can count on one hand the amount of features they've rolled out over the last couple years, right? Like, they're clearly not being put to great use over there. But this wasn't like this wasn't explicitly a Twitch decision. This is just the entire tech industry. I don't remember where the source was now, but there's a whole article written up about the collapse of the tech industry jobs right now. I believe they cited that because of COVID, all of these companies panic hired a ton of people because they thought they'd need significantly more employees to like run remote and all of that. So all of these companies really exploded with the amount of people on their payroll over COVID. And now that that's not going on anymore, they just have all of these, like this wild list of employees that they don't use and they don't need anymore. So now they're letting them all go all at once. So it's just this huge exodus. Yesterday, something crazy happened, and I'm sure you've all heard about it. Twitch was hacked. They were blasted by the notorious hacker known as 4chan. This Mr. 4chan was able to infiltrate the mainframe itself, jacking directly into the cyberspace and releasing a ton of information about Twitch and the streamers on the platform. It was similar to what happened with the fappening, if you remember that. The fappening was when a bunch of celebrity nudes leaked all at once, and yesterday Twitch experienced its own version of the fappening, but a lot less cool. It was mainly streamer income that got released. However, the whole hack was like 235 gigabytes, I believe, and it was labeled Part 1. So the hacker's already teasing a Season 2 of this anime here. They're leaving it on a cliffhanger, so it's just an appetizer, apparently. But the main thing that everyone was focusing on yesterday from this hack was streamer income, because they publicly released every streamer's income since 2019. And I want to talk about that a little bit before going into like the hack itself, which is a pretty fucking wild thing. I don't know what's going to be in part 2. I guess it could be something even crazier, like he found Jeff Bezos' dick pics embedded deep in Twitch's code or something. That would be pretty wild. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if in part 2 this dude reveals that he found the Twitch Konami code. You know, like kind of like how in Melee you can play as Master Hand with like some cheats and some mods. This dude found that equivalent for Twitch, and he's able to just look at Jeff Bezos' wiener You know, I don't know what to expect, but it's apparently like wild stuff. But the thing that I'm going to focus on is the streamer income, since that was the hot topic yesterday. I want to start by saying that I think this is the least important topic of this entire hack. They claim that they got the source code of Twitch as well as some other extremely sensitive things, but for some reason all of that was overshadowed by the fact that they released streamers' income. So he released an entire write-up of every single streamer's income since 2019, and everyone lost their fucking mind. I made a video talking about this. It is publicly available information to at least get a close estimate for what any streamer makes on that platform. Subscriber numbers are public, and a subscriber is $5 a month at Tier 1 or Prime. There's a Tier 2 and Tier 3 which aren't factored in here, but just to give you a base, assume everything's Tier 1. If you take their sub number and multiply that by 2.5 or 3.5, you get a very close guess as to what that streamer is making, and that's just from subs. Now it's 2.5 or 3.5 because Twitch obviously takes a cut of that $5 sub. This is just assuming every sub is a Tier 1 or a Prime, which obviously they all aren't. What was released yesterday in the leak is the streamer's total income from subs and ads. I believe it was ads factored in there as well. And people acted like it was some big sistery, like a big gotcha moment, like this is the smoking gun. This was the hole in the condom that we needed to find. It turns out these streamers are making money on the platform, even though all of it's been public information from the get-go. The only thing that is a mystery, I guess, is how much gets made from ads. And even then, I'm not sure that those numbers even factor that in. I'm only going off what I read there and the numbers they posted for me. I'm assuming ads are factored in there because if they are, then the number they posted for me is pretty close to the monthly. Now, the thing is, though, the only thing they really did is they did all the math for you. If you just look at its Twitch streamer's subs and multiply by 2.5 or 3.5, and you do that across 2 years, the number you will get is very, very close to the number they posted. They just did the homework for you. But all of it's public, so I don't know why people lost their fucking mind. Like, look at this! It turns out Twitch streamers are making a lot of money on the platform, as if they just found the Krabby Patty secret formula. It takes only a little bit of common sense and a little bit of just thinking rationally for a second to recognize, like, when I give this streamer a Prime or I pay $5, $15, $25 to a streamer, they get money for that. It's, you know, like, it's not a hard concept to wrap your head around. And exactly how much they get also isn't a mystery when the numbers, the sub numbers, are literally public in your face. Some streamers have their sub count on the screen in front of them at all times. They are begging you to do the math to see how much money they make. And yes, it's a lot. That's no surprise. I've been saying for fucking years, streamers make a ton of money, significantly more than people seem to think they do. Even when the numbers are right in front of them, they still like to believe that the streamers they enjoy aren't well off for some reason, and when they find out that they do have money, a lot of people feel betrayed, as we saw yesterday, which is weird. People were getting mad at me, like, oh, so Charlie, it turns out you make money on Twitch. You're ranked 22 in the world on Twitch in terms of earning. How fucking disgusting. How could you mislead us, Charlie? And I just don't get it, because I'm not misleading anyone. Just because I'm not some douchebag who flexes their wealth all the time doesn't mean that I don't have money. I know I dress like a cartoon character and all that, but it doesn't mean that I am not well off. I'm extremely lucky and fortunate to be in the position that I'm in, and I make that very clear all the time. I understand how lucky I am to be in the position that I am. I don't go on stream and put on an act and pretend to be broke like, oh guys, I'm starving and hungry, I can't afford warm clothing, so when winter comes around it's always miserable. Yesterday I was eating chicken fries off of the Burger King bathroom floor, and I just don't know how much longer I can do this without your primes. I need your primes in order to survive. I'm actually starving to death. I was drinking water out of a dumpster just to get by because it was the only free water I had access to. I need your primes. I don't do that shit, so I've never misled anyone. I've always been very upfront about the lucky situation I found myself in. I understand when a lot of you look at me, you assume I'm homeless, but as I've stated multiple times, I'm in an extremely lucky position. And you want to know, like, the most incredible thing that's going to blow some fucking minds out here? I'm about to break the magician's code, apparently. The numbers that were released in the leak yesterday are wrong. They're too low. The streamers on that list, every single one of them, well, at least for like the top 100, are making significantly more than is represented on those leaks. Those leaks only cover subs and ads. They are not covering the donations through Streamlabs because that doesn't go through Twitch, so they wouldn't have access to those numbers. And they're also not counting sponsors, and they're also not counting Twitch contracts. A lot of the top 50 streamers on there have contracts with Twitch, which add a significant chunk of money to streamers' income, and those are not represented there. XQC is on there at like 8.6 mil or something like that, and you're fucking crazy if you think that's all he's making from Twitch. And I didn't think any of this information was something top secret or fucking world-changing where people's universes are melting around them right now and they're questioning everything. They don't even trust their own fucking parents anymore because maybe they're successful Twitch streamers somewhere. Like, I thought all of this was common knowledge for most people because it's all right in your face. Most of the information is just right there at your fingertips. Just look at their sub number and do basic math and you get a very close guess on what they're pulling in. What really shocks me about this whole thing is how big of a deal it was, A, and B, how many people felt betrayed by streamers they liked because it turns out they're successful. Like, you know, I loved you. You know, I fucking loved you, Soda Poppin', until I found out that you actually are pretty wealthy. Now, I just spit on you, and you make me fucking sick. I can't stand the sight of you anymore. You know, like, what? For some reason, people want the people they like to not be successful, or they only want them to be successful up until a certain point. It's like music hipsters. When they find an artist that they find that's a little underrated and then that artist gets big, they get fucking mad about it. Like, God, I love this artist until they became successful, now I fucking hate them. Well, I liked them before it was cool and now I hate them. You know, it just doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't like that perspective or that mentality at all. For some reason, there was a thread about how I'm a hypocrite because I called out a greedy Twitch streamer in a video once, and then it turns out that I make money on the platform. How are those two things related at all? I was literally criticizing them because they were greedy on a platform where they are making a ton of money to begin with. So sitting on stream and shaming your viewers for not giving you more money when you're already making thousands upon thousands of dollars from them supporting you is greedy, and me calling that out doesn't make me a hypocrite just because it turns out I also make a lot of money from Twitch. The difference is I am not sitting there begging for it and demanding my followers give me money. I'm not sitting there sniffing my own farts, hand on my balls, saying like, guys, I'm not starting the stream till I get a hype train of level 5. I need 100 subs right now or I'm not streaming. You know, these streams aren't free. You're gonna have to give me fucking tier 2s, tier 3s, tier 1s, give me your primes. I'm fucking gluttonous. I need it all right now. I'm going full-blown Mr. Krabs. You know, I'm not sitting there doing that. I'm just streaming, and I just get lucky that there's so many kind people that just want to show support to the stream and support the members within the community. It doesn't go deeper than that. This wasn't some, like, nefarious secret that I was trying to keep under wraps, like, fuck, I hope no one realizes that I actually make money on Twitch. It's all been right there the entire time, and I'm not hiding anything, and I can't recall seeing any streamer hiding the fact that they're very successful on the platform. You know, like Hassan, for example, he's getting eaten alive for the fact that his money has come out. He publicly shows his subscriber count like right above his face cam. You can see like 50,000 subs. It takes an actual toddler to just look at that and be like, that's a high number. And each of those numbers represents a dollar amount. Like, that's a lot of money, right? Like, it's not that hard. You know, it shouldn't be surprising to anyone that streamers are making a lot of money. All of it has been public for as long as I can remember Twitch existing. Now, of course, all of this coming out has led to the classic argument that's been around since the internet's inception of they don't deserve that money. These streamers, they don't deserve any of that. Firefighters don't make that much money. My mom's a librarian and she makes half that amount of money. This is bullshit. They shouldn't have that at all. Now, whether or not you think streamers deserve that much money, that's going to be entirely on you. I'm not here to change your opinion or perspective on it. I'm not your dad. I'm not going to take the belt to you if you think differently than I do about it. It doesn't really... It's not something I'm trying to argue. But it's something you could say for pretty much everything else when it comes to entertainment. Why are athletes making that much money, right? Yeah, they spend a lot of time in their sport, they're extremely good at it, but at the end of the day, it's just entertainment for you as a spectator. You pay money to go to their games to watch them play for an hour and a half, 2-3 hours, whatever sport you're going to, and then you leave being entertained, hopefully, or heartbroken if your team sucks some asshole, and then that's it. Then you do it again next week. Or during the off season, you just get excited for when it comes back around. It's just entertainment that you are paying for at the end of the day. It's pretty much the same thing. On Twitch, you have people that are really good at a game. They'll stream for like 16 hours at a time. You have 16 hours worth of entertainment. And maybe at some point across those 16 hours, you're like, you know what? I feel like tossing $5 this dude's way. He's entertaining me. It's been good company. It's been good background noise. I'll toss $5. And you forget about it. And that adds up. There's millions upon millions of viewers on Twitch around the world every month. So if you just have some people doing that, then the person that is entertaining people for 16 hours is getting $5 pretty often. Like, it's pretty simple. Actors is another one. Anything when it comes to entertainment. Why is Robert Downey Jr. getting paid so much money when he only has to work like 3 or 4 months out of the year on a film, and he's making hundreds of millions of dollars? You could argue he doesn't deserve that much money because he's not putting in that much work, and he only entertains you for like 2 hours once a year at most with a movie. And you could say it for the music industry. Lil Pump releases a song where he just says Gucci Gang 100 times. Does he deserve all the money he made from that? Like, it's just something that extends to everything in entertainment, and it truly just depends on what you find entertaining and whether or not you place a monetary value on entertainment. Like, it's just pretty simple. It's not a competition of like what's harder or what's more beneficial or productive. It's just a matter of whatever puts a smile on your face and if that's worth anything to you. Like, I just don't really know why streaming is the one that's targeted when it extends to everything in entertainment. It's just not that deep. It's the same as every other entertainment field. It really is. The only difference is the amount of hours that go into it. Like I said, most big streamers stream daily for like 8 hours a day. So they are constantly online entertaining people. So that's going to be a lot of different faces coming in every day at all hours of the day. And then at some point, among all of those faces, someone decides to just support the stream. And all of that adds up. So bingo, bango, bongo, the streamer makes a lot of money over time. I don't know why that's such a hard concept for a lot of people to grasp. It works the same way in every other entertainment field. And no one's like, holy shit, can you believe how much money actors make? What the fuck is this about? Or musicians. Can you believe Lil Nas X actually makes millions of dollars? Like, I can't believe it. You know, like, no one's like shocked there, but for streamers, for some reason, it's a little different. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm going to pretend to be one. I think the reason why people got so mad is because when it comes to streaming, a lot of viewers form some kind of relationship with the person they're watching, whether or not they want to admit it or whether or not they're even aware of it themselves. I feel like subconsciously, some viewers that regularly tune into a streamer want that streamer to be in the same position they are for the most part. So if a viewer's not financially well off and they see the streamer they like is, that probably builds a little bit of resentment and a little bit of betrayal because they have this, even if it's a small connection to this streamer, where they feel like they're closer than they are or should be. So I think that's where it stems from. Streaming has always had a problem with parasocial relationships, and I think the response to seeing streamer income really helps highlight that. Like, it's not a mystery where it all comes from, and whether or not you think they deserve it, that's not something I'm here to argue with you about at all. But yeah, anyway, I think that covers like most of the things here. I think what people should be focused on with this leak is what could happen. Having Twitch's source code completely out, as well as a couple of other things that are mentioned in the leak, is a huge deal that I think not enough people are focused on. The whole Twitch streamer income has completely overshadowed the most wild part about the entire thing. And yeah, so I just wanted to talk about this because this is what everyone's been wanting to hear about, so I figured it was worth at least going over. That's about it. See ya. There's been a brutal war raging on for the last couple months that you might not be aware of or you yourself might be a victim of, and if it's the latter, my heart breaks for you. The battlefield is Twitch. The soldiers are gamers, God bless their souls. In a nutshell, the gamers have believed that their sacred territory has been tarnished by the blasphemous women wearing bikinis and streaming from hot tubs. It's a holy war that's been going on for about 2 months now, and there's been a significant development on the front lines here that I'd just like to talk about. Now, I'm of course a pioneer in the hot tub meta. I did one over a month ago, and it was perhaps one of the best pieces of content Twitch has ever seen since the time Only Use Me Blade fingered his butthole for $20. And since I'm kind of an expert in the field, I thought it was about time that I finally throw my condom into this pile and give my perspective on it. So since the beginning, I've always said, let it ride. Booba for life, baby. I'm not gonna sit here and be the crusty hall monitor for Twitch reporting streams to the principal. Well, hey, look at this. This is clearly against the Twitch dress code. This is illegal. They should be thrown in the slammer. They're wearing a bikini on a gaming website. This deserves a prison sentence. The thing is, though, I understand the outrage when it's actually directed at the right things. Twitch, for the longest fucking time, has been so vague with its enforcement of its policies, and the hot tub meta was the exact epitome of the entire problem with how Twitch enforces its rules. By and large, a lot of the hot tub streams are softcore pornography. They genuinely are. Not all of them, but a lot of them that have popped up have been attempts to get donations for changing their bikini or doing sexual things in a pool. Like, the draw is watch these women do sexy things for money on Twitch. Again, of course, that's not every hot tub stream, but I've seen 2 different hot tub streamers where one of the donation/bit incentive goals was they would put their asshole in the camera and make it clap. It was like watching hand puppets ventriloquism, like their asshole was talking at you. You can't tell me that that's just normal hot tub activities that's not, sexual in nature. That's not something your fucking grandma would do at the community pool with your family, right? Like, it clearly was geared to be sexual. Which, of course, is fine by me. You know, I'm not afraid of sexual content. I'm not going to get the Bible out and start throwing it around like, this isn't Christian, this is a sin. The problem is, in the past, Twitch has been extremely harsh with punishing people for accidental sexual content being broadcast. Like a streamer playing a game and all of a sudden there's accidentally like big milkers on screen for half a second, they get like a month-long ban. Forzen, for example, most famously got banned for a GIF that was accidentally played where it was a horsecock. A viewer pranked him and a horsecock popped up on screen for a second. He was banned for an entire month. And with this kind of content, there is a lot of it sexual on purpose, and no statement from Twitch saying why that's okay, but accidental sexual content in the past is not okay. So that's obvious why members of the community would be so upset about that. I don't think there's anyone out there that's upset at the actual people doing the hot tub streams, myself included, because no one really has an issue with the actual content. It's more the fact that Twitch has been so silent on why that's so different from the accidental sexual content in the past that's resulted in such harsh punishment. It's more people just wanting Twitch to explain themselves. No one's really mad at them for playing the game. Like, a lot of the hot tub streamers, viewership has increased by 10 or 20 times what it once was before hot tubs. So it makes sense, and they're doing a great job. So I don't think anyone's, upset about the grind out there. They just want answers from Twitch. And today they finally got them. Twitch has introduced a new category, pools, hot tubs, and beaches, which will be the new home for all of the hot tub streams and bikini streams. This is where they will all live from now on. And also, of course, Witcher 3, Geralt of Rivia just sitting in a bathtub for endless hours. That's been going on for a while. He's an up-and-coming hot tub streamer and climbing. Soon he may take over the category. God only knows at this point. So yeah, Twitch rushed this out today because pressure was starting to really mount from the media. There was quite a few news outlets picking up on this and questioning Twitch. Why is this on a gaming website? What is this content? Can we get an explanation? Amaranth had also just been demonetized. Ads were pulled from her channel. And then Twitch just very quickly put this out, as well as a statement. And there's definitely a couple things to talk about in there. The first being, Twitch mentions that advertisers can control where they put their ads, and they can opt out of advertising on the pools, hot tubs, and beaches category if they want. So it sounds like they made this category quickly, so advertisers had an easy way to avoid all hot tub content. It seems like they made like a quarantine zone, like, okay, all hot tub streamers go here, so that way all advertisers can avoid you. They also do mention that if there are any hot tub streamers that try and circumvent this by going to just chatting, they're going to have some vigilante at the HQ move them into this category. And it really just seems like the biggest thing they want from this is to make sure advertisers have an easy way to exclude their ads on this content. It seems like this was like a mass demonetization, but with a happy face on it. Like, oh, no more ads, but you have your own category, so fuck yeah. Which isn't really the biggest deal. Streamers don't make a whole lot of money from ads. Ads on Twitch are definitely not the primary source of revenue for any streamer on the platform, and definitely not for hot tub streams. So it's not the biggest blow, but it's also not really like a great solution either. It really also goes to illustrate how powerless individuals are in getting answers from Twitch. For 2 months, we've heard fucking nothing from Twitch, with the entire community, some of the biggest streamers talking about it and just wanting to know more of like, hey, what's going on with the hot tub meta? Is this okay? What's going on here? Just to radio silence from Twitch. But the literal day, one day, of just an advertiser being like, yeah, this is a little too much, I think we're done. And then a couple of news outlets, Twitch immediately buckles, releases a full fucking goddamn summer reading essay on what's going on. and then it makes a whole new category. All because a couple of companies started talking about it, whereas individuals have been asking for months, like, hey, what the fuck is going on? You know, this again just shows how truly little the people matter to a platform, and it's more just about traditional media and companies. It's crazy. But another thing that I do want to talk about is Twitch also made this statement. This is an elementary school. I'm not going to read you this as a bedtime story, but to sum it up, Twitch is saying that they are not going to take any action against someone just because people find them sexy or attractive. There's nothing wrong with that statement. I think it's a great sentiment, to be honest. There's entire compilations made by creepy, deranged lunatics on YouTube where they'll zoom in on a female streamer's ass when she gets up to go take a shit during a stream. And it's not like she was doing anything sexual or making sexual content. She just went up to drop a loaded shit into a toilet, and some weirdo made it something sexual. That shouldn't all of a sudden be a problem for the female streamer. Twitch shouldn't be like, well, women are no longer allowed to turn around on stream. From now on, you have to walk backwards. You know, I think it's great to say, like, look, there are weirdos that are going to make everything sexual, and we're not going to act on that. I think that's great. But it's not exactly applicable here, because it's not like these streamers just happen to be going to the beach or the pool and they were wearing proper attire for the occasion. They're setting up literal $5 kiddie pools from Walmart in the middle of their living room for the excuse of being able to wear lingerie and bikinis in there. Some of the incentives to change into a sexier bikini. They also have hot dog inflatables and banana inflatables that they ride around on. They also do squats and jumping jacks for subs sometimes. They write donators' names on their bodies. No matter how you bake this cake, it comes out a little bit sexual. But for some reason, Twitch is really afraid to admit that. They're super hesitant to just come out and say, like, yeah, you know what, it is some sexual content, and we're okay with that. For some reason, they keep just falling back on saying, like, the content's not sexual, and if you think it's sexual, you're a creep, and you're wrong. Like, you know, some of the streamers aren't shy about it. They'll just outright say, like, yeah, this is more of like a sexy kind of stream. And for some reason, Twitch just doesn't want to say that, and I don't know why. I think if they would just say, like, you know what, we're okay with at least a little bit of sexual content on the platform, it'd be great all around. Bingo, bango, bongo, that's the end of it. Just be a little more transparent. Look, we're okay with this, and here's where the line is. Bang. That's it. But yeah, anyway, that's where we're at with the whole hot tub meta. As I've said this whole time, I have no problem with hot tub streams. There's no fucking problem with it at all. I don't think it's stealing viewers from your favorite stream or anything like that. It's just other types of content. Yes, some of it is sexual in nature, but I also don't think that's a bad thing as long as Twitch is willing to come forward and be like, you know what, we're fine with it, and from now on, we're going to be a little more lax when it comes to enforcing these sexual policies, so we're going to start taking into consideration the context more. Oh, you accidentally showed titties in a video game? We're not going to ban you now. You know, oh, you accidentally had a nip slip in your hot tub stream? No ban, you know? Like, have this ground where it's like, okay, we're going to be a little more lax here now that we've introduced this. I think that's where it should be. And maybe it will be. I don't know. This is brand new. So yeah, that's really about it. Just wanted to talk about it because it's been pretty fucking wild recently. And yeah, that's it. So yeah.
My husband and I have removed the bottoms of all of our shoes.
Has the world gone mad? Jump in Jehoosaphat. Cutting the bottoms of your shoes off so you can walk around in the city streets barefoot and into businesses barefoot is absolute insanity. But that's TikTok for you, baby.
We decided to start walking barefoot, and one of our followers had a great idea. Since some businesses don't want us being completely barefoot, if we cut off the bottom of our shoes, it'll allow us to be barefoot but blend in with everyone else.
It's the perfect plan. The masters of disguise. Hats off to that follower there, shoes off to that follower there, who suggested this fucking stinker of an idea. The barefoot Batman giving them a symbol of hope here. Why not just cut the bottoms of your shoes off so you can walk around barefoot all the time? I bet they said it as a joke because it's the most outlandish suggestion they could think of, and these goobers bought into it hook, line, and sinker. No one will ever know that you're actually barefoot underneath the skeleton of your shoes. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, big business. Also, it's really comical to me that the husband is wearing socks in the house. So they walk around the city streets barefoot, but draw the line at walking around their own home barefoot. What, is your house dirtier than the fucking city streets? You don't trust your own house floors, but you trust the city streets that are covered in poop and all kinds of other bodily fluids and chemicals and yuckiness? But you get the heebie-jeebies thinking about walking around your own home barefoot. Ooh, I would never walk around here without protection on. I'm double layering my socks today, actually. Do you not clean your own floors or something? It makes no sense to me. That's so weird that they'll wear socks in their house, but not in public. They're just full-blown barefoot, letting it be raw.
This is a huge commitment, but we were willing to make it. These are our favorite shoes. Our shoe collection is worth more than $20,000. But this is a sacrifice we're willing to take because walking barefoot means the world to us.
Rest in peace, 20,000 bones. That's a lot of money to just flush down the shitter just to be able to secretly walk around barefoot. Far be it for me to question what people are passionate about, but why this? You know, I'm a bit of a daredevil myself, a bit of a rebel. I like to walk around barefoot in the comfort of my own fucking home, where it makes sense to get my little hobbit stompers out and just roam around here. Why sacrifice 20 grand just to do it in secrecy? Like, you can't just wear shoes for a little bit. You have to be barefoot all the time. It's almost like a fetish at that point, it feels like. They can't help themselves. It's so weird to me because it's a dangerous thing to do. I remember back in college when my campus would do like shoe drives where we donate shoes. My roommates and I did it once, and we walked back barefoot, and my buddy cut his foot on a piece of broken glass and just gashed that shit open. Now, amplify that danger times 20x because you're just walking around the city streets barefoot. It just doesn't make sense. Plus, you're risking, of course, like disease, infection, and shit. Like, probably get like fucking hookworm and COVID, and those two mash together and form like COVID turbo strain or some shit. I don't know. It just doesn't. It doesn't compute. You can't just wear shoes for a little while. You have to just ruin 20 grand worth of shoes to be barefoot secretly because businesses don't want you barefoot inside there, which is a totally reasonable thing to not want because it's gross.
The benefits of walking barefoot are priceless, so now our shoes are worth more than money could ever be. So today we got to work and started removing the bottoms.
The benefits of walking around barefoot, huh? That had me scratching at my chinny chin chin, so I did a little research. There are some stated benefits of walking around barefoot. On grass, in nature, where again, that makes sense. Not dirty ass city streets that are covered in poop and in fucking grime and grease and filth. Or on like the floors of businesses, which again are going to be covered in all kinds of shit. The benefits of walking around barefoot are minimal at best, but there are some, and it's all in nature. Like in the forest, on the beach, like literally anywhere besides just contaminated city streets. This is just vile and disgusting. I bet if you brought out a Geiger counter and held it to this couple, that shit would blast off the charts. They're gonna need Radaway or something after a single trip to the grocery store while barefoot in these incognito boots.
We weren't sure if this was going to be easy or hard, and it ended up being pretty easy. We made little shelves where our toes are and our heels are. We made a little lip on the bottom of the shoe where our toenails will go so they can latch on, so we'll actually be able to hold on to the shoe while trying to walk without the bottom. And we did the same thing for our heels. The experience of cutting off the bottoms of our shoes was very freeing and detoxifying, just like walking barefoot is.
The word detoxify has completely lost all meaning. It's just a useless buzzword now. It's truly baffling how far we've fallen, but that's the beauty of brain rot. Yes, I start every morning with a dirt and urine smoothie while walking around barefoot to improve my connection to the earth and realign my chakras to detoxify my body. Absolute lunacy. You're not detoxifying anything by walking around dirty-ass city streets barefoot. You are actively toxifying yourself. If anything, there's all kinds of sewage and shit that spills onto the pavement that you're now just barefoot raw dogging. And even outside of that, you could step on like a small piece of metal or something, give yourself tetanus. Like, there's so much risk associated with this and no benefit whatsoever. What do you get? The ability to wiggle your toes a little bit in the open air on the pavement? Yippee! It's just so stupid, and they're trying to preach about it like it's a good thing, and this is supposed to be a tutorial for other barefoot enthusiasts. So that way you can go incognito while barefoot in businesses and on the city streets. Who would want that? Why?
So after we cut the bottoms off, we decided to try it out. So we went to our favorite store, Sephora, and as you know, they don't really like us in here without shoes. I needed to grab a few things for a trip we're going on. The experience was absolutely perfect.
I love the dichotomy between we walk around barefoot because it's good to detoxify and it's freeing and whatever, and then going right into Sephora, which has more chemicals than the goddamn plant Homer Simpson works at. Of course, I have no problem with Sephora whatsoever, but I just really would have thought a couple like this that's so desperate to be barefoot that they'll destroy a $20,000 shoe collection just to cut out the soles so they can be barefoot on the grossest surfaces possible would be really apprehensive about going to a store like Sephora, which has like a lot of really unnatural ingredients in a lot of their products. So it's just weird to me. And it starts to make me wonder if this is all just performative. Like, I feel as though there's a chance they don't actually walk around barefoot ever, and this was just for the sake of being quirky and unique on TikTok. And that's also helped by the fact that the dude was wearing socks in his house. If they really loved their bare tootsies out all the time, I bet he probably wouldn't even fucking own socks, let alone wear them in his own house. So I'm starting to think that they're just lying here and this is all just fake, but I'm not entirely sure. Either way, though, it's fucking gross.
The workers came up to us, they talked to us, they even complimented our shoes. I definitely recommend this if you're trying to go incognito barefoot. It's the perfect way to get all the benefits of going barefoot, but also have no one know.
It's also the perfect way to contract the disease if you're looking for a speedrun percentage, because I'm guaranteeing you're going to pick something up along the way here for this journey. What a great tutorial and what a wonderful lesson. I also love how effective this is. Just look at how top secret this is. As her entire foot pokes out the side of this destroyed shoe casing. The corpse of that shoe is just hanging on by a thread here as her whole foot is exposed. I'm sure nobody knew. I'm sure they were completely in the dark. Of course, the workers, I would imagine, probably saw this, especially because the sound their feet would be making, slapping against the floor. Like, that's not the sound shoes make. I have no doubt they knew, but they probably just didn't want to deal with the headache of confronting people like this about it. Like, hey, excuse me, why are your dogs out underneath these shoes? We really would prefer if you came back later with shoes on. Can you please leave the store? They probably just didn't want to get into any kind of argument with people like this, so they just let it slide and were praying that they'd be in and out quickly for their stupid TikTok video. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because it was a wacky little thing that popped off on Twitter today. That's about it. So yeah. Twitch is really going through it right now. They are struggling through a hard time internally. I'm not talking about falling off or anything. They haven't lost their spot at the top of the food chain when it comes to streaming. But internally, it's pure chaos and pandemonium. They've been treading water when it comes to their financials, and it's been getting really bad. They just had to announce that they're stopping the Twitch service in South Korea because it's just prohibitively expensive. They also had the huge round of layoffs last year that you might remember. Twitch is just generating about as much money as CryptoZoo. $0. In fact, less than $0. It's negative monies. Negative clams are being generated by Twitch, and it seems to just keep getting worse. They just had to announce another wave of layoffs at Twitch with 500 employees losing their jobs. 35% of the Twitch workforce was being laid off, as confirmed by Dan Clancy. And today, Dan Clancy actually did a stream just being fully transparent, going over a lot of things, such as the layoffs, as well as just Twitch not really making money. Again, that's not a secret. We all knew that. That's about as much of a secret as me being short. Like, everyone knows by just taking a look at Twitch and what's been going on. It definitely fucking sucks how many people just lost their jobs in this most recent wave here, and it's even more unfortunate that it's not exclusive to just Twitch here. This has become extremely common in the tech industry, because so many companies like Twitch started overhiring and went through this period of overgrowth, especially during COVID, and now all at once they're starting to downsize and lay off a ton of people like what they just did. And that's something Dan also talks about.
That we've implied this before, where we say we need to run it sustainably, but I'll be blunt, we aren't profitable at this point. Amazon has been extremely supportive of Twitch, and a big thing for being sustainable over time is ensuring that we don't lose money. And that's a big part of my job because that's going to be what makes sure we can be here for long term.
This is the CEO of Twitch who is just speaking openly and honestly about what's going on, which is really refreshing, especially given the last CEO who didn't even know that he ran Twitch. Again, this isn't a shocking revelation. I don't think anyone heard this and flew back in their chair and slapped their knee like, well, golly, Twitch not being profitable, never saw that coming. This is the worst kept secret since Darth Vader being Luke Skywalker's father, right? Everyone knew it wasn't making money, and Dan is now just finally saying that out loud and then going over how he plans to fix that. Before going too deep into this subject I want to talk about, I just want to give a round of applause to Dan here. He really does seem like he cares. He's constantly streaming on Twitch and interacting with the community, like he plays games with other streamers all the time. When the announcement came with the layoffs, he wanted to go live and just directly answer questions about it and talk transparently about it. So honestly, it's appreciated that he'll do something like this. Now, he does say something that I had to raise my eyebrow at. And if this was an NFL game and I was a coach, I'd probably be throwing a challenge flag on the play. He says that Amazon has been super supportive of Twitch. And to that I have to say, are you sure? This is maybe some kind of hostage situation? Is Jeff Bezos just off camera with a baseball bat with nails through it, threatening you to say things like that? One of the major criticisms a lot of people, myself included, have stated is that Amazon seems really hands-off with Twitch as a product. For the entire time it's owned it, it hasn't really done too much to try and elevate it, improve it, fix things when things are broken, or really much of anything at all. I think the major contribution that the public can point to when it comes to Twitch and Amazon working together is Amazon offering the Twitch Prime subs, which is a huge component to Twitch, of course. It is a very big deal. But aside from that, there haven't been too many things that Amazon has done for Twitch, at least in what I've seen and what most people have seen. But with the way Dan talks about it throughout this stream, it does seem like Amazon might be significantly more supportive behind closed doors than any of us could possibly ever know. But I did just want to say, like, hearing him really sing the praises of Amazon as a partner was a little surprising for sure, given how little we see with Amazon interacting with Twitch. And speaking of Twitch Primes, I'm going to have to take a little victory lap here and say I told you so. For about 2 years now, I've speculated that Twitch Primes might vanish, at least in their current format. For those that don't know, Twitch Prime is a service offered on the platform where you can sub to a streamer completely for free as long as you have your Prime sub available, and that streamer gets $5 from Twitch. Well, $2.50 from Twitch. For free. All you do is take your Twitch Prime and use it on a streamer. $0 to you. And that streamer gets money from Twitch. I believe that they're just praying, fingers crossed every day that you forget to use your Prime sub, because when you remember to, you're just costing the company money. And I've said for 2 years, since the holes in the ship started to show, that that's probably going to be one of the major things that they change. If they don't outright get rid of it, they're going to do some kind of drastic overhaul and change the way it currently is, because that is something that is not sustainable to a business that already isn't profitable. And Dan Clancy talks about that.
Prime is a critical program for many streamers. We've already been looking across the company in terms of how to set us up for the long term. I think we will continue to evolve different aspects of our program, because part of what I'm trying to do is get us into a framework that can live over a long time. The size of the company is one of those things that gets us to the right size for the longer period of time. When we did Partner Plus, we structured that so that we could continue to move that threshold. We're going to keep looking across our strategy with streamers. We did this with the ads incentive program. We want to get to where we can continue to grow and adapt and change as the market changes. And so there may be other changes, but I will tell you, Prime is an important part for our viewers and our creators. So it's important for us to make sure Prime still exists in some way.
It's not a direct answer to the question of if the free benefit to Twitch Primes is disappearing, but I think it's pretty clear with the way he answers it and tiptoes around it, beats around the bush a little bit, that he recognizes the severity of having to change that, but knows that he needs to change it. So the way that he kind of talks around the subject makes it clear that there is change coming. As he's talking about needing to come up with new strategies and everything, I think we can all say with a high level of confidence that the free benefit to the Twitch Primes is going to be an ancient relic of the forgotten past. In 50 years, you'll tell your grandkids, there used to be a way to sub to your favorite streamer for free, and they'll call you crazy and tell you to take your medicine and go back to Arkham Asylum, you old geezer. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, it seems. Now, this is a big I told you so moment for me, because like I said, I was beating the drum saying, hey, Twitch Primes probably aren't going to last forever. Hey, like a doomsday prepper kind of thing. And it looks like that day is coming up sooner than I thought it would, to be honest. But we still don't know exactly what's going to change about it. If I had to look into my crystal ball and take another guess, I would say they're going to keep the Prime program around, but a diet version of it, a bootleg, watered-down version of the Twitch Prime service that we know and love currently. I think that it'll probably end up being more of like a discount code situation where if you have a Prime available, once a month you can sub to your favorite streamer for half off. So instead of costing you $5 to sub to your favorite streamer, it'll cost you $2.50. And then they get the $2.50, the streamer you sub to. I think that's probably how it'll work. So it'll no longer be free, but it'll be a discount on a sub. So like 50% or maybe even less. I really have no idea. But that's kind of how I envision this going in the future. They're not going to outright get rid of it, I don't think. It'll likely be in that manner. So we'll see. We'll see if I go 2 for 2 on the Twitch Prime, boogeyman predictions here. But anyway, Dan Clancy also just directly answered a question a viewer asked about, is Twitch at risk of just getting the axe from Amazon? And he said emphatically no, and that Amazon is very much in this race. They are heavily invested in this, and there's no chance, really, that Twitch just crumbles and goes under or anything at the moment. They're going through this turbulent period internally, but he is optimistic that things will look up in the future for it, and he has some ideas on where to take things, and, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. But it really was an insightful live stream. Again, I haven't really seen a CEO be this transparent. I expected he'd only be answering heavily curated comments, but he doesn't just answer only softballs. There were a couple he answered that I thought for sure he would avoid and shy away from, such as, is it true some of the employees that were laid off found out they no longer had a job through social media as opposed to through you guys? But he actually did answer it. That and a couple other questions that I thought for sure would not be addressed at all. So overall, I do think that was a pretty cool gesture from him, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see how things start to pan out for Twitch going forward. While I don't think Twitch is in any danger of being buried 6 feet under immediately, as I've said, I am skeptical that Twitch will be around in a decade. With the direction things have been going, it makes me concerned about the future of Twitch, at least in the capacity that it's currently at. Where other streaming services are growing, Twitch seems to be kind of staying in the same place and then going through more internal struggle. So it makes it seem far more dire as an outsider looking in. But Dan seems to believe that Twitch's best years are ahead of them as opposed to behind them. So perhaps they have like a really good strategy going forward. But yeah, just wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's it. So yeah. There's 2 things you would never confuse me as. A tall person and a fan of TikTok. I've made it pretty clear over the years that I think TikTok has been largely detrimental to the development of the younger generation, as well as just overall a negative effect on people as a whole. In particular, the attention span of people. I really think that this is going to be something that'll be studied for decades to come. When we reach a point where human beings can't sit down for more than 30 seconds without squirming in their chair if they're not blasted with, finger family jingles and just perpetual stimulation from GTA gameplay and Subway Surfers. Like, I do think it has had a noticeably awful effect on people's brains. However, there is something I love. Freedom. I love it more than Garfield loves lasagna. My blood runs red. My belly's filled with cheeseburgers and brewskis. When I have a birthday party, I ask the attendees to sing the Pledge of Allegiance instead of the Happy Birthday song. If I wasn't a human, I'd be an eagle. That's how much I love freedom. God damn it. God bless. So, I think it's a beautiful thing that we have the freedom to download TikTok and subject ourselves to that fucking mind rot. And this is something that I've covered for a few years now because this is like a boogeyman that keeps rearing its head occasionally, like some kind of cameo in every season of the United States with the whole TikTok ban. That's been a proposal for years now. But recently, it's been gaining a lot of steam, and today, the president has signed a bill that will force a sale of TikTok, and if they don't divest after 9 months, they will be fundamentally banned. So, TikTok is a very shady app, and there's been a lot of shadiness that's been reported in it for years, and it's even been deemed a national security threat due to the potential of China using it to collect data on Americans. This is something I'm sure all of you know. This isn't some kind of surprising plot twist here for all of you. And I'm sure all of you also know that there's no such thing as privacy anymore. Every single one of you watching this right now is actively having your data harvested and sold. But typically, your data is being sold by American companies. This is pretty rare in that it's a Chinese app that gained mainstream adoption by Americans, thus they are the ones that are getting the data as opposed to American companies. And the government's not super happy about that. So, if TikTok is not divested within 9 months to an approved buyer, then it's going kaput. It's going to vanish like that. It's going to be banned. TikTok CEO has even made a video going over all of this to its users, and it seems like they're going to be fighting tooth and nail here to push back against this. They believe it is unconstitutional. Before showing you the video, I'll read their statement. This unconstitutional law is a TikTok ban, and we will challenge it in court. We believe the facts and the law are clearly on our side, and we will ultimately prevail. The fact is, we have invested billions of dollars to keep U.S. data safe and our platform free from outside influence and manipulation. This ban would devastate 7 million businesses and silence 170 million Americans. As we continue to challenge this unconstitutional ban, we will continue investing and innovating to ensure TikTok remains a space where Americans of all walks of life can safely come to share their experiences, find joy, and be inspired. Now, over the years of this TikTok tug-of-war that we've been seeing in the headlines about will it be banned, will it not be banned, I've kind of flip-flopped on my opinion of that. I negatively view TikTok. I don't have a good impression of it because I think the good on it, which undeniably there is good things that have come from TikTok, by giving everyone a voice, there is moments where it's able to highlight very important problems that are going on, and there are good content creators on there that are providing high quality entertainment and educational entertainment at some points on TikTok. It's also been huge for businesses, like just normal mom and pop businesses like that have been utilizing TikTok as a way of growing and flourishing. It's been super helpful to a lot of businesses. However, I feel like all of this is outweighed by the overall culture that TikTok has kind of fostered, where the most popular content is the ones that have Subway Surfers gameplay with cutting soap videos plastered on there because they know that the audience can no longer focus on just one video anymore. It needs to be constant stimulation and jingling keys to keep them there because it has damaged people's ability to focus. And also, a lot of the content that blows up on TikTok is the content that is just literally wrong, like fake garbage that serves just to fearmonger. Like, for instance, the easiest example, the solar eclipse. There were thousands of videos about the solar eclipse about to open up a demon portal because CERN's working behind the scenes during the solar eclipse, or like the red heifer has been sacrificed so the Antichrist is being summoned during the solar eclipse. All kinds of mumbo jumbo that serves just to keep the audience on TikTok scared and stupid, so that way they're constantly spending money to stop being scared and feeling stupid. So it's all very, like, there's some evil shit on there. It's also very dangerous, because there's a lot of things that blow up on there that actually just get people killed, like the Blackout Challenge, or like the Kia Challenge, where you're stealing cars. I could go on and on shaking my fist like the angry old man on the lawn, but I don't need to, because all of you, I think, know that. But even with all that being said, I still overall feel that it's important that people have the ability to make choices for themselves, and if they choose to download TikTok, they should have the ability to do so. I don't like the government being the one to decide what you can and cannot access in regards to like an app on your phone. Now, in this case, I do recognize that TikTok is significantly shadier than most of the other major companies out there, but still, I think it is a scary precedent if the government is able to just start banning things that they don't like. Obviously, within reason, if it's just purely illegal content and distributing just a bunch of illegal criminal shit, clearly slap that down. That makes sense. But come on, it's a social media app. Like, who's to say there won't be another major platform or service that pops off in the United States that isn't owned by the United States? And who's to say they won't be like, okay, fuck them. We were able to ban TikTok. Let's go ahead and ban these guys too. It's not American made. We don't want it here.
Hi everyone.
is shown here. As you may have heard, Congress passed a bill that the president signed into law that is designed to ban TikTok in the United States. That will take TikTok away from you and 170 million Americans who find community and connection on our platform. Make no mistake, this is a ban on TikTok and a ban on you and your voice.
I don't think there's anyone on the planet that's making the mistake and thinking that it's not a ban. There's no smoke and mirrors here, no diversion. They're not mixing any words here to try and confuse you. It is just straight up a ban. Like, they're not hiding that fact. They either sell TikTok to an approved buyer, or they can no longer have TikTok in the United States.
It's actually ironic because the freedom of expression on TikTok reflects the same American values that make the United States a beacon of freedom. TikTok gives everyday Americans a powerful way to be seen and heard, and that's why so many people have made TikTok part of their daily lives. Rest assured, we aren't going anywhere.
I'm not going to play any more of this because it's mainly just a video letting the community know that they are going to be fighting as best they possibly can against this, and also a lot of it's just talking about how special TikTok is, like it's such a wonderful, joyous place with sunshine and unicorns. Like, you know, it's delightful on TikTok, and we want to preserve that, so that's what we're fighting for. That's not what you're fighting for. You're fighting for TikTok so hard because it's such a massive moneymaker that has a huge adoption in the United States. You don't give a fuck about, like, the actual culture on TikTok. If you did, there'd be significantly less degeneracy on it, I imagine. Like, there is, like I said, even aside from, like, the data stuff and the spying potential, there have been some legitimately shady things going on with TikTok. The reason why they want this so badly to avoid divesting and avoid being banned is because it makes so much money. And they have so many users in the United States that they do not want to lose, and they do not want to give over to a different company, obviously. So yeah, anyway, I guess we'll see if TikTok is banned within the year, and if it is, that's going to be pure fucking pandemonium as people flock to, like, YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, I suppose. But anyway, that's really about it. So yeah. There's nothing more useless nor more pathetic than people who spend their days arguing on Twitter. You could get trapped in a fucking elevator for 24 hours and that'd be a more productive day than someone who spent it arguing on Twitter. If you sat in a puddle of your own vomit with your fingers up your ass, eyes rolled in the back of your skull for 24 hours, that is still a more productive day than the people who argue on Twitter. Twitter arguments are like the mosh pit at a Green Day concert. Yeah, it's fun to look at and laugh at, but no one ever wants to really be in it because it's just sad. There's no point when arguing on Twitter, and especially the people that literally are warriors there that never leave constantly arguing with people. You're never going to change anyone's mind. That's the biggest takeaway. When you're arguing or debating, typically the goal is at least to have someone's perspective change or have someone see another side. You don't have that on Twitter. It's impossible. It never happens. Look at this tweet, because I think this tweet really puts it all in a nutshell. A nice little tight nutsack. This is a representative attitude for the majority of the people that actively use Twitter and fight on it. I've blacked out the names here because I don't want anyone to go harass anyone involved here. But let this serve as a beautiful scientific case study and quick look into the mind of an active Twitter champion. So the opening dialogue comes from our protagonist, a checkmark, a verified Twitter user. Verified on Twitter basically means that the Twitter Illuminati verification group decided to give you the checkmark. They give it out seemingly at random. There's no rhyme or reason for half the people they verify or don't verify. Really, it seems like they give a checkmark out to anyone who's even farted on a website that can even be misconstrued for journalism. It makes no sense. But anyway, the checkmark comes in with a bit of a hot take in movies. I think it's deeply ironic that Scorsese thinks Marvel films are the same movie over and over, when in fact this guy really only makes one movie, let's be honest. Some of them are truly fantastic, don't get me wrong, but come on. Definitely a hot take, but that's not a strange occurrence on Twitter. Twitter's comprised of 50% hot takes and 50% K-pop stans spamming their shit everywhere. So in response, a Scorsese fan comes to defend his honor and makes a good point. He's made like 4 or 5 mob films, but how are Age of Innocence, Hugo, Kundun, Last Temptation of Christ, Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, After Hours, King of Comedy, Silence, the same movies? That is a very level-headed, very reasonable response, especially considering a majority of the other replies were very aggressive and very rude. This is very level-headed, calm, and opens up a dialogue where she could defend her point. But how does someone respond to valid criticism or even just a valid attempt to get dialogue going? Yeah, sorry, I'm not engaging with disingenuous fanboys who just want to fight. Bye. I mean, you see, what's the point? Why have these arguments on Twitter? Nothing gets solved. This is the exact kind of shit that goes on. Someone makes a good point. Well, fuck you. You're blocked. Bye. I'm better. You know, you didn't have to respond. You could have just ignored it. You didn't have to just give this whole big speech as if you're so holier than thou, like, I will not engage in this. I am so far above and beyond it. I am on Mount Olympus. You are in the sewers with Master Splinter and those turtles. This is not worth my time whatsoever. It's that same kind of fucking attitude that happens on Twitch streams. Also, speaking of which, by the time this video goes up, I'll be live on Twitch at twitch.tv/moistcritical. There's no link in the description. Just don't be so fucking lazy. Go on Twitch, type in moistcritical, or type in the whole URL. I'm gonna make you fucking work for it, but it'll be worth it. When you get here, I might even be naked bent over. You never know what to expect. Stream almost daily. What I'm saying, her attitude is like those goddamn virgins on Twitch that'll come into a Twitch stream on a game they don't like just to tell you they don't like that game. Shit happens all the time. Charlie, you know I don't like Counter-Strike. This game fucking sucks, and I fucking hate that you're on it. You know what? I'm never coming over here anymore. You know I don't like this game, and you're playing it, you're streaming it. I'm fucking leaving, Charlie. You know I fucking hate Counter-Strike. I'm out of here. Like, okay, you didn't have to be an asshole. I was going to make you take an exit survey on why you're leaving. You could have just came in and left. You know, get yourself some of mommy's breast milk and calm the fuck down. I was playing a game I wanted to play, and you came in here and just told me you don't like the game. Why not just leave? Why do you have to be such a douchebag about it? It's the same thing she does here. You could have just not replied to his comment. Even though it made great points, you weren't obligated to make it something aggressive. Could have just let it sit. His comment wasn't aggressive. He made a point to her point, and she couldn't defend it, and I guess she got hurt on like an existential level and came back with a rebuttal that was just so needlessly aggressive and shows that she's not open to changing. That is also the same attitude mirrored from flat earthers that everyone likes to make fun of and use as a punching bag, and rightfully so. They're very goofy. They're very easy to make fun of. But if you watch the Flat Earthers documentary, they literally proved themselves wrong. They proved the earth is round in their own documentary, and they disregard it. They say, oh, we must have fucked up. Because they refuse to take in something new, no matter what is proven. That's Twitter. Why are you going to spend your days arguing on Twitter trying to change minds of people who are never going to accept it? And they tell you outright they will not accept it. K-pop stans, another one. People always saying, you know, get rid of fan cams. K-pop stans are over. Fan cams fucking suck. Stop it. Should be illegal. They're still going to do it. They're telling you they're still going to do it. So why the fuck are you going to spend your days fighting the K-pop stan army as if you're some type of frontline barricade protecting us from K-pop stans, going on all their shit, telling them to stop? It's not going to work. You're wasting your time. It's just so pathetic, the people that constantly argue on Twitter. I really can't help but feel bad for some of them because I really think they're convinced they're doing a good thing and making a change. But on Twitter, no one changes. Very, very rarely will anyone change a position or even stop to think about another perspective, no matter what people in the comments are saying. And that tweet I showed you is the perfect example of that attitude. And again, you could find that same attitude mirrored in other communities like flat earthers and anti-vaxxers. It's just a fucking waste of time, and I think Twitter arguments are genuinely pathetic. If you find yourself constantly angry on Twitter and arguing with people, find a different hobby, take a step back and realize you're not fucking doing anything with your days when you're spending hours upon hours as a fucking full-time job arguing. You're just wasting your time. And that's the point I want to make. That's about it. See ya. I've got a piping hot meal fresh out of the Olive Garden microwave straight to your dinner table here. This news is fresh off the press. The CEO of Twitch has announced that they're stepping down. Emmett Shear has been with the company at the helm for 16 years, apparently, and today has decided to move on. So he's quit his position and passed the torch. This is really interesting because it happens so soon after YouTube just experienced something very similar with Susan stepping down. Back to back, these two major companies had their CEOs walking off into the sunset together. I'm not normally conspiratorial, but perhaps there is some kind of correlation between all of the UFOs we've been sighting recently and now these CEOs stepping down. Maybe the Illuminati's making some plays for the shadow government. Things are getting very odd. But anyway, Emmett left us a blog post kind of detailing his 16-year adventure here at the helm of Twitch, and even made a Twitter post kind of going over it briefly as well. In October 2006, we started working on live video for the internet. That became Twitch. More than 16 years later, I'm now a father and ready to move to my next phase of life. I wrote a blog post, but the short version is, thank you so much to everyone who built this with me. I'd like to make note that this is probably the first time Emmett Shear has ever said a single word about Twitch on his Twitter account. I've said this a million times, but you would have no idea Emmett Shear is the CEO of a major company like Twitch if you didn't just look it up yourself. I bet you were even scratching your head when I said the name Emmett Shear. You're probably going, who the fuck is Emmett Shear? Is that like a NASCAR driver or something? Like, who's that? I bet most people were probably under the impression Twitch didn't even have a CEO. That position was filled by Amazon androids or something. Emmett Shear has been my poster child for the last couple of years for a CEO that is beyond out of touch with the company that he runs, and it really does convey the idea that he doesn't care about it. Again, he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't engage with it ever. He doesn't celebrate anything about Twitch. If you scroll through his Twitter, you'll never really find any mentions of anything going on Twitch. I imagine he probably doesn't even know 5 streamers that use the platform. Like, I've made this very clear. This is no secret. I've been very public that I'm not the biggest Emmett Shear fan. You're not going to see me heartbroken, curled up and crying over Emmett Shear no longer being Twitch's CEO. Right? I think he has been the most passive CEO of all time, and it's really felt like he is embarrassed of his position at this company. He doesn't talk about it ever. He is never at any of the functions. He doesn't know like half of the shit on his platform. I bet the reason he stepped down is because someone at the office might have accidentally like CC'd him on an email reminding him that he's the CEO of Twitch, and he's like, what? I'm the CEO of Twitch? Still? I thought I gave up this position 8 years ago. Hold on, let me rectify this. So then he just put in his 2 weeks notice. Like, he just has not, in a long time, been active in the platform he is the CEO of. So, I haven't been a big fan. Obviously, the changes that Twitch have been experiencing over the last couple of years have been overwhelmingly fucking terrible and misguided, showcasing just how out of touch a lot of the higher-ups at the company are. So, you know, Emmett Shear stepping down actually kind of had me pumping my fist a little bit. And I know I'm not alone with that sentiment either. I saw a lot of people celebrating like they had just won the fucking Super Bowl, hoping that maybe this is the turning point for Twitch where someone new will step in that's more in touch with the community and will try and correct the ship here and lead Twitch down a better path than the one that it's currently traveling over the last couple of years. But unfortunately, all of that excitement soon turned to excrement as I continued to read. They did announce who the new CEO will be. And unfortunately, it's more disappointing than Season 2 of Promised Neverland. I think this was a big fuck up, but they've chosen to give this position to the current Twitch president, Dan Clancy. I think this is a bigger blunder than when Jeffrey Toobin masturbated on that Zoom call and lost his job. Like, this is so silly. Dan Clancy is kind of just like the bearer of bad news for Twitch. By far his biggest claim to fame and the biggest stain he's already placed upon the company even before becoming CEO is this. He was the brave warrior that proudly posted this. A letter from Twitch president Dan Clancy on subscription revenue shares. This post still lives in infamy and still haunts the platform and scares a lot of creators because we're actually coming up on the period that these changes are supposed to roll out and take place. This was the post where Twitch announced that they are going to be getting rid of the 70-30 split with partnered streamers that are on those deals. So 70-30 will no longer exist. The shares will go down to 50-50 across the board, and they will never go back to 70-30 ever. So it'll be 50-50 across all of Twitch for everyone, no matter what, making it the lowest shares on any streaming platform across the entire internet. Now, in order to make up for this, they doubled down on ads. Something everyone really loves, Twitch ads. The unskippable fucking 30-second ads that play when you click on a stream. Yeah, people love those, so you can imagine how great that news went over. Like, yeah, we're taking away 20%, but we're giving you more ads. So, they are going hog wild with their ad program, incentivizing creators to run more ads to make up for this difference now in income, and just pushing ads even further down the throats of everyone on the platform. This was by far probably one of the most controversial decisions Twitch has ever made, and I still, to this day, have not seen a single person come out in support of it, because Twitch is an Amazon-backed company. Amazon, of all companies, can probably afford to keep Twitch running. Without problem, I would imagine, especially considering subscription revenue is not the main driver of revenue for the platform in general. It was just extremely greedy to have that be the target, the first thing they target when trying to be more monetizable. Instead of focusing on other aspects of monetization, they immediately went right for the throats of creators by taking away something that had been established on the platform for like a decade now with that like 70-30 split shit. So This was a big deal. It is still a big deal because it's supposed to roll out within the next couple of months, and Dan Clancy was the one who announced it publicly. I don't know if he was the one that suggested the idea. I don't know how involved he was with the decision-making process with this idea, though as Twitch president, and from everything I've read, it seems like he's very hands-on with these kind of decisions and these policies. So I would wager a guess that he was very on board with this. Now, even aside from just this decision, people have talked about him over the last 8 or so months, kind of speaking to his character. A popular streamer named Jake and Bake actually got to meet him and had this to say.
It'll be a long time. To be honest, dude, the president of Twitch, I'm sure personally, I have no problem personally with him. But honestly, I don't feel confident as a streamer on the platform with someone who is that out of touch.
Yeah.
What the streamers need and want.
Oh
very.
no.
I walked away feeling like depressed. Seriously, sad.
And it wasn't just Jake, a couple other people came forward as well, most notably DJ Wheat, who held a previous high position at Twitch. DJ Wheat said, Dan once told the company he relates with creators because he was involved in drama in theater clubs in high school. He's a good human, but I never felt like he was able to relate to creators and the struggles they face through every step of their career. Wow, gamers, he's just like us. He did drama in theater in high school. Woohoo! Yippee! That's my boy! It's crazy. Like, he didn't even bother to try and pretend to be, like, a gamer or anything, or, like, ever played games. At least according to this story and a couple other things I read. He focuses on, like, drama in theater as being, like, his relatability quirks. Amazing. Yeah. It doesn't seem great. In fact, I would argue this is a recipe for disaster. Dan is almost 20 years older than Emmett Shear. He's 59, and he doesn't have a Twitter account or much social media at all. Not that I necessarily think that in and of itself is a bad thing. I usually applaud people who don't have a Twitter account, because going on Twitter is like willingly sticking a cactus into your eye. But in a case like this where Dan is the CEO of Twitch, I feel like having a social media presence is extremely important, because where else are you going to be able to see the community's feedback on new features or changes? I don't think there's very many users on Twitch that are going to the support line in order to leave reviews or give you insight on how they feel about certain things. Most people are going to talk about all of this on Twitter or other social media platforms. So if you're completely absent from there, how are you going to see it? And I feel like being able to see these responses is integral to running the company in a healthy way and delivering features people want or making changes people want to see. At least that's just my perspective on it. Maybe I'm way off the mark and they have other means for Dan to get this kind of information from the community that I'm just not really thinking about. So either way though, I'm not super optimistic with Dan Clancy as the new Twitch CEO. I would, however, love to be proven wrong and Dan Clancy comes in here like an absolute rock star and knocks it out of the park. It's probably worth mentioning I have actually met him before. In fact, Matt and I have both met him. When we went up to Texas for a week to do like some wacky content, he was at one of the functions we were attending and introduced himself. And I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. Like, he was nice and seemed passionate about Twitch. The only thing that he really like asked me was if I play games. And I was like, yeah, I play games. And he was just like, that's cool. That was really kind of like the extent of our interaction. It was just really small talk things about like, yeah, Twitch is a place for gaming. You play games. Awesome. So I can kind of just vaguely speak to his character of like, he seemed very passionate about the platform, but I don't know anything else really about him. He seemed nice, I guess, but just being nice doesn't make you a good leader of the platform. So hopefully like maybe he has good intentions and has good ideas on ways to make Twitch better, because it needs some drastic improvement with the directions it's been heading. So I guess we'll see how all of that goes, but just wanted to talk about all of this because it's big news. That's about it. See ya. It's now been over a month since I primarily switched from streaming on Twitch to streaming on YouTube. I spent about 5 or 6 years exclusively in the trenches of Twitch streaming, and now I've recently done a cannonball into the deep end of the pool of the YouTube ecosystem for streams, and I just wanted to debrief on the whole thing because I've been getting asked a lot, not only by chat, but by friends of mine, what the big differences are, what makes one better than the other, which I prefer, And I thought this would be an interesting topic because for a lot of people, Twitch versus YouTube for streaming is a lot like Coke versus Pepsi. They're very similar, but there are subtle differences that make people prefer one over the other. And for streaming, it's obviously Twitch that's the preference. And I just kind of want to go over this whole situation here, let you all take a bite from an apple of my tree of knowledge, and just bestow upon you the sage wisdom that I've been gathering since being on YouTube. Because I am the one that walks between worlds. I'm like fucking John Constantine. So let's just start out with the obvious differences that you'll hear everybody mention. YouTube streaming has no culture to it. It is very bland. It's very vanilla. There's no real identity to YouTube streaming chat culture. And that's not something that you can really teach or artificially integrate into a platform. It's like basketball. You can't teach height. There's certain things you can teach about basketball, but ultimately there are certain things you can't that'll make you a better basketball player. And for YouTube streaming, that is its chat culture. And let me break down exactly what that means here, because if you don't watch Twitch streams, then what I'm saying right now is a giant nothing burger of mumbo jumbo. Like, what the fuck is chat culture? Well, on Twitch, since it's been around for so long now, the community that watches Twitch streams has grown together and created a very unique identity for itself, where it has this DNA that's shared across every streamer's chat on the platform, with inside jokes or certain emotes that'll be spammed at certain times during the stream. And it doesn't matter who the streamer is, the chat itself is always in on the same general jokes or emotes, and just, it's hard to like actually explain, but if you've ever been on Twitch or streamed on Twitch, you'll know what I mean. There are just certain things in there where instead of just spamming like full conversational texts in a Twitch chat, they'll sum it up with like one line and an emote. You know, there's just so many ways that Twitch chat expresses itself in a way that other platforms don't, and frankly other platforms just can't. That's not something that you can bring to your platform. It has to happen organically over a long period of time. Twitch has been around for so long, and despite being absolutely massive, the community itself still feels very tight-knit, which makes the streaming and chat experience on Twitch just overall more engaging. On YouTube, it's like Sasquatch. That doesn't exist. And another thing, Twitch does a really good job of making the chats readable. This is a huge thing, actually. Even in the biggest Twitch streams on that platform, you can read the chat because they're smart in that they hold messages for a very small period of time, so that way they come in chunks, which makes it legible. And on YouTube, they don't do that. Ludwig compared it to a sink faucet being turned on, which I think is a beautiful description of it, because it's just this endless flood of gobbledygook. Like, you can't read anything on a YouTube streamer's chat that's popping off because they don't hold anything. It's just real-time blasting you with information, and if you try to read it, your brain is going to blue screen. It's incomprehensible because they don't hold it, which makes it detrimental to the health of a stream and a stream's community, because if you can't engage with your community, they're often not going to stick around. This one actually has a super simple solution I am shocked they haven't implemented yet. Just put the rectangle in the rectangle-shaped hole here. Just hold the messages for a second. Just let them marinate for a second before sending them out, so that way it's not just this endless Star Wars scrolling text of things that nobody can read. Now, I know Ludwig also has an extension called Truffle, which aims to make the chat experience on YouTube more in line with the chat experience on Twitch, and it works pretty well. It is a band-aid to a bit of a boo-boo that YouTube still hasn't, cleaned out properly and fixed, but it does help. So I know there are tools, there are options here, but I feel like YouTube could definitely work on the simple things like the messages. The only thing that it can't really do here is create a chat culture. That's something that's just going to have to happen organically. YouTube can just provide tools and provide a better chat experience from a functionality standpoint. Now, there's two other big differences. The one that everyone's going to mention is discoverability, and I do think that's still correct. Now that I've been on YouTube for a month, I can say with confidence, nobody is finding your stream unless they are already on your channel. There's no way to find streams on YouTube effectively. If you browse the godforsaken wasteland that is the YouTube streaming tab, looking for any kind of interesting stream will be a daunting task. Like, you'd have an easier time having a threesome within the next 10 minutes than you would finding a single interesting stream that you might enjoy. The only way you find streams on YouTube is if you already watch the person that's streaming it. It is extremely difficult to find anything that's of interest to you. And trust me, I've done a lot of exploring here. That needs to be improved. On Twitch, I do think discoverability has suffered over the last few years, but that's just because of the oversaturation of streams in general. But on Twitch, it's far easier to find what you want. You go to the category of the game that sounds appealing, you'll look at the titles, you know, like, oh, this one sounds interesting, fingering butthole for $20. I'll take a peek, you know, is he actually going into the chocolate starfish here for donations? I mean, what's going on here? So then you click on it, and it's a channel you've never seen before, and you maybe give them a chance, and maybe you end up liking the stream. On YouTube, that's not going to happen. You just don't have that happen. It currently just feels like streaming is a bit of an afterthought here. There are some problems that I think could be addressed and could be fixed pretty quickly, and this is one of them. It's been in a pretty bad state for discoverability since its inception. It really feels like it's a secret. Like YouTube is keeping streaming a hush-hush whisper, like just a secret functionality. I think there's a large number of people that don't even know YouTube streams exist. I really think that. Because again, the only way new faces can even find a stream is if it somehow gets recommended to them. And in that case, it's just a gamble. You just have to hope that for some reason you made it into their algorithm and then they saw that you were streaming and maybe wanted to give it a try. But other than that, you're not really going to be seen by people that don't already know of your existence. So as a new streamer just starting out, YouTube is absolutely not the platform for you, I don't think. You'd be streaming to a fucking graveyard. Now there's one other thing I think Twitch does significantly better than YouTube, and then I want to get into what I think YouTube does better than Twitch. But on Twitch, subscribers is done much better. When you subscribe on Twitch, you all know what it means. It means you're giving money to a streamer. Twitch has something called Prime, where you can get a free sub to a streamer a month and they get $5, and it costs you nothing. It's an unbeatable service, and something YouTube legitimately can't match unless it wants to start offering an equivalent for YouTube Premium members. So like, if you have YouTube Premium, then you get one free membership to a YouTube streamer per month, so it'd be the same thing as Twitch Prime, but on YouTube. I don't see them doing that because it is such a massive net loss of money for the company. Twitch continues to offer primes, but they're not doing it with a smile on their face. They're doing that with a big old frown. Like the fucking fattest frown of all time. They're praying that you don't remember to use it, because when you use it, it just costs them money, and they get nothing in return for it, other than just offering a legitimately unbeatable service, and it's good for the streamers, and it keeps a lot of streamers sticking around, because the primes, I mean, that's a tough thing to beat. So YouTube doesn't have that, but another thing YouTube doesn't have is an identity to its memberships. When you hear subscribe on Twitch, you immediately know what it is. When you hear membership on YouTube, you're left scratching your head going, what are you talking about? Because even when you're looking at the stream, there's no membership button. But then when you're actually watching the stream, you'll notice there's no such thing as the membership button. It's a goddamn lie. What you need to locate is the join button, which in and of itself is kind of in a suboptimal location. It's right next to the subscribe button there, and on mobile, good luck finding that. It's a game of Where's Waldo. But then you click the join button, and then you become a member. But why call it join? That's very confusing. That's super convoluted. Like, if I didn't know what that button did, I would never touch it. I'd avoid it like the plague. Because what are you joining? You joining a Discord channel? You joining the anime club? Like, what are you joining? Joining a newsletter? Or joining a community tab for the channel? Like, it doesn't tell you what it actually is. It should just be called membership or something. Like, it should show you exactly what it is. Because right now, it's a mystery game of what join does, and nobody plays the game. No one's clicking that button. Now, those are like the major differences that I think Twitch does better than YouTube, but I want to talk about some of the things I think YouTube does better than Twitch, because there are a few. The biggest one for me, and I think it is an incredible quality of life change to streaming that I think is a great thing for viewers, it's the ability to rewind a stream. So, on any YouTube stream you go to, you can go back. You can go back and see what you've missed and catch up that way, or just watch like parts of something if you missed a little component of it. You can go back in a stream, which is fantastic. And it's also good for streamers because then new viewers that come in while you're streaming won't inundate you with questions you've already answered, or won't inundate you with questions about something that you've already done earlier in the stream if they can just rewind it and check before they ask. I am a big fan of the ability to rewind streams, and another thing I'm a huge fan of on YouTube, as opposed to Twitch, is the bitrate. YouTube allows you to stream at a much, much, much higher bitrate than Twitch. I can't believe Twitch is still currently limited to the bitrate that it's at. YouTube doesn't have that problem, so streams generally are looking better on YouTube. That one's super simple. It's just on the technical side of things, YouTube streams look better. I also do think that it runs better on mobile. Twitch mobile to me has been an absolute fucking joke of a service for a long time. YouTube mobile works really well, and that includes watching streams. At least from the few times I've watched streams on my phone over the last month or so, it has been a very smooth experience. I haven't had any problems, whereas on Twitch, anytime I fire up the app to watch on mobile, I had an issue with something. So YouTube is definitely a little better on that front than Twitch. And another thing that I think is really much better on YouTube than Twitch is VODs. VODs, they exist on Twitch, yeah, but no one really checks VODs. In fact, most people that watch a streamer on Twitch will end up watching their VOD or clips from it on YouTube. So YouTube is just a place to go for on-demand content, and that extends to streams as well, because once you're done streaming, it goes to your channel in the live tab. And it's also monetized a lot better than on Twitch when it comes to the VOD content. So if you do ads during your stream, there's more value. You get more out of that than you do on Twitch. And that extends to the VODs, where your VODs are automatically monetized with ads and certain breaks during it. So you get a lot more revenue-wise from your on-demand content on YouTube versus Twitch. But again, that only applies if you've already established yourself on YouTube or like TikTok and pushed to YouTube. You've already got an audience on YouTube. That only applies in that case. If you're just starting, this means nothing. Like, because this is just a bunch of fish paste. You won't be found easily as a YouTube streamer. Thus, your VOD monetization isn't going to matter at all. Also, one more thing. This one's not a big deal, but it is kind of cool and a little silly. You get to choose your own thumbnail for your YouTube streams, whereas on Twitch, it's just random moments from the stream. In fact, I had one time when playing through Cyberpunk that my cock slider, like when I was playing around with his penis to change the size of it, was my thumbnail for a while. And it's not like you have any say in that, it's just Twitch generating those thumbnails for your stream. YouTube, you have full control over it. I haven't really been utilizing it to its full potential. I've just been getting like really up close to the camera and making like a face or just staring blankly at it, which kind of is like a jump scare when the notifications go out. But yeah, the ability to make your own thumbnail for YouTube streams I think is actually a pretty good thing. I think it's cool. But it also brings me to another problem. I just mentioned notifications when my stream goes live. That's not commonplace. Notifications aren't exactly the norm for YouTube streams. Very few people get them. I was actually talking to Danny about it like 2 weeks ago. Danny has no idea when I go live, and he's subscribed with the bell and all of that shit, but still, that notification doesn't really get sent out. Whereas on Twitch, you know what you're there for. You're there for streams. So you'll get notification for streams. YouTube, you're not really there for streams. Nobody's really there for streams. They're there for the VODs, their video content. So when a stream notification is supposed to go out, a lot of people either won't get it, A, or B, don't really know like what the fuck is going on because it's a kind of long notification. It's the red icon, channel name, stream now, and then title, and then thumbnail. So it's kind of a lot, and a lot of people will immediately disregard it. So it's hard to let people know, even if you already have an audience on YouTube, when you're actually live. It makes it difficult to find the live streams for a lot of people, which is a complaint I've heard not only from Danny in real life, but from quite a few people who do tune into the streams from time to time because they just genuinely don't know when they go live. Whereas on Twitch, that's never really a problem because everyone knows when you're live when the notification goes out. So another thing I just wanted to briefly mention here at the end. But anyway, let's get to the conclusion now. If you're someone that's just starting streaming and wants to grow as a streamer, Twitch is 100% the platform for you, no doubt. But if you are someone that already has an established YouTube audience that wants to just dabble in streaming occasionally, it's certainly a viable option, for sure. I will say that I think Ludwig was also right about something else where he said YouTube as a streaming platform is one that's best served with intermittent streams as opposed to daily. Whereas on Twitch, the most important thing you can do is just be alive. As a Twitch streamer, you find the most success through consistency. Just being there is enough to, over time, grow or maintain an audience because a lot of people go to Twitch just for comfort, background noise or something. So as long as you're there for that, you'll find success through just consistency. YouTube is kind of the opposite. No one's going to YouTube streams for the comfort or anything. They're going there for the novelty of it right now because, again, it's not why you go to YouTube. So if you see a stream and you're like, oh, this sounds interesting, then you check it out for a little bit and you need to capture those viewers' attention. And usually if you're just doing daily streams, you're not coming up with innovative new creative ideas for every stream, so there's a good chance someone tunes in and they're not interested in the game or whatever you're doing, so they just leave. So Twitch is really good for daily streams. YouTube, you'll probably find more success if every stream is a unique one. A big thing to think about when streaming on YouTube is, does this stream work well as a VOD? And if the answer to that is yes, then YouTube is a really good streaming platform because you can stream it live, you can engage with the community live, and then it lives on as a VOD, which is very monetized effectively, and can enter the YouTube video algorithm, so you can get new eyes on the video content itself, assuming, of course, it gets picked up and it's like a good VOD. Twitch, that doesn't happen. Once the stream is done, very few people are going to look for the VOD on Twitch. They'll look for it on YouTube first. So all in all, my impression on the big picture thing is anything that works really well as a live stream is going to perform better on Twitch than YouTube, most likely, because more people outside of just your core audience can find that content on Twitch while it's live. But once that live stream is over, that VOD content will work much better on YouTube than it will on Twitch because, again, no one's really watching VODs on Twitch that often. Most of the time, it's getting eyes on YouTube, and YouTube itself can pick it up, and they do monetize it in a much better way than Twitch does. So that's kind of the overall impression of everything I've had so far on both streaming platforms. Again, I've only been streaming on YouTube consistently for the last month and a half, whereas I spent 5 years on Twitch. So maybe my impression of YouTube will change over the next few months or the next year or so. We'll see. But I just wanted to report on all of this. I will say that I think YouTube streaming right now is a lot better than it was when I streamed on here 6 years ago or whatever it was. They have made a lot of improvements, that's for damn sure. But there's still a lot of wiggle room here for more improvements. There's still a lot of room to grow for them. So yeah, just wanted to put all this out there. That's really about it. So yeah. There's one headline that pops up pretty often that I'm sure all of you are used to seeing now. It's like a Stan Lee cameo in the news cycle. TikTok being banned. It's here all the time, like this looming menace. Any day now, TikTok's gonna get banned. The boogeyman will be destroyed. And every single time, it seems nothing happens and nothing changes. But yesterday, there was a pretty sizable development in this whole anime arc, where Congress voted 50-0 about going forward with the TikTok ban, assuming they don't divest. So it's a really interesting situation where I'm still not convinced it's going to be banned because there's just too much money at play here. And I've just seen this song and dance too many times. You can only puff out your chest for so long before it just becomes no longer meaningful. But I'll be honest, there's a little part of me thinking damn, they could actually just ban TikTok this time around. It was so bad, in fact, that TikTok themselves sent out an APB to their users hey, we need to get everyone on the horn here to contact your congressman and let them know what TikTok means to you. So TikTok weaponized the airwaves and gave their users all the tools needed to contact their congressman as quickly and efficiently as possible. So they spearheaded fucking Operation Piss Baby, where people started calling these congressmen and complaining, saying about why TikTok shouldn't be banned, this and that. There were allegedly so many calls from so many disgruntled users that they had to shut off their phones because people kept shaking their fist at them. And that does seem pretty significant considering TikTok itself seems to be scared about this new Congress vote. So perhaps there really is a chance that it gets banned, and that would be one of the most shocking things I think I've ever seen with a company of this size. I feel like what's most likely to happen is TikTok eventually will just play ball and divest, and that'll be that. TikTok will persist. It's just so big. It's massive, and it's not just normal, average everyday users, average Joes. It's businesses now that invest so much money into TikTok. It's all of these corporations now. It has been heavily commercialized, even outside of just people sending goofy dances back and forth. There's so much money wrapped up in it. I just don't see it vanishing. And it's become such a massive marketing tool for so many companies. I would be beyond stunned. But anyway, I went over it on stream, diving into all of the thorough details. So I'm just going to go ahead and play those clips so you can get caught up to speed on why it's looking down the barrel of a potential ban and what's exactly going on with it. Did you see Congress just passed legislation to ban TikTok in the United States? I feel like we get that headline once every 6 months at least. I don't believe it, but I'll take a peek here. This happens all the time. And then eventually it just peters out like, it's okay. TikTok can stay. Members of Congress are being flooded with calls from angry constituents after TikTok launched a new campaign warning its users that the Chinese-owned app was at risk of being shut down in the U.S. Why it matters. A key House committee voted unanimously Thursday afternoon to advance bipartisan legislation that would force ByteDance, TikTok's Chinese parent company, to divest its ownership of the app within 165 days. Didn't they already do this? I thought that was like one of the main stipulations for how it continued to survive. No, they just kept complaining about it. Oh. The highly unusual 50-0 vote in the House of Energy and Commerce Committee, which unveiled the bill 2 days ago alongside the China Select Committee, reflected the level of anger among some members of TikTok's pressure campaign. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise announced Thursday he would bring the critical national security bill to the House floor for a vote next week. The White House has indicated that President Biden would sign the bill, injecting new urgency and aggression into TikTok's campaign to counter the years-long efforts to address the app's national security risks. The flood of calls to congressional offices, which began Wednesday night, was triggered by a notice on TikTok app warning users of a total ban that would damage millions of businesses, destroy the livelihoods of countless creators across the country, and deny artists an audience. After asking users to enter their zip code, TikTok then directed them to call their representative in Congress to let them know what TikTok means to you and tell them to vote no. Oh, that must have been like the worst 24 hours for these geriatrics, getting calls from fucking little Jonathan. Hey, TikTok really means a lot. I go on there and watch all these really cool dances. You know you can buy plutonium online for $50? I did not know that. I don't know what I'd ever do with plutonium, but if I ever need it, now I know it's available. Now it's looks maxing. Yeah. No, it's just only looks maxing. Mewing tutorials out the wazoo. Inhaling toxins. I understood that reference. That's about the chroming, right? An 11-year-old just died from that, and Twitter was dunking on him for being stupid, which is like the most Twitter thing ever, insulting an 11-year-old. Wait, chroming like fucking Mad Max? Yeah, the trend was like you spray your face with I don't even remember what it was now, but they used some kind of aerosol which obviously has toxins in it, and an 11-year-old apparently passed away from it. And Twitter, like the comments were just eating the kid alive, insulting his family, insulting the kids, saying natural selection wins again, rest in peace bozo type shit to an 11-year-old. Literally like a fucking 4th grader who just fell victim to the brain rot on TikTok, seeing all these other people doing it, so they do it themselves. Phones are completely bogged down hearing from students, young adults, and business owners who are all concerned at the option of losing their access to the platform, a senior GOP aide told Axios' Julia Grace Brufk. The authors of the bill responded furiously to what they call a massive propaganda campaign, emphasizing that TikTok would not be banned if ByteDance divests its ownership. TikTok is characterizing it as an outright ban, which is of course an outright lie. House China Select Committee Chair Mike Gallagher told reporters, I guess if you got $1 bajillion, you can come up with some crazy public affairs strategy. But it's backfiring as members are livid about the calls and misinformation. So bad we turned phones off, which means we could miss calls from constituents who actually need urgent help with something. I wish TikTok would be shut down. I don't think it's going to happen. I think no matter what, it won't be shut down. Even if ByteDance refuses to divest its ownership, I still don't see it happening. I think it's just too big. There's too much money at play. We should all gritty in front of the Capitol and protest. Yeah, just hit the say-so dance out there, bring world peace, like that Pepsi commercial. There will always be another TikTok replacement. Well, it's called YouTube Shorts. But regardless, I don't see TikTok actually being shut down no matter what. TikTok is banned on federal devices, and Biden administration officials helped with the bill's technical language, but the Biden campaign joined the app last month in an effort to reach young viewers. Wait, you tell me Sleepy Joe's on there busting out some moves? What's the Joe Biden content looking like on that app? Man throwing it in a circle? Fucking seductively licking ice cream at the camera? I'm super curious now. Hold on, let me see his campaign. In a video captioned, "Lol, hey guys," Biden answered fun Super Bowl related questions such as game or commercials. And Jason Kelsey or Travis Kelsey. Oh man, he's killing it. Where is it? Oh, wait, this actually is it.
Great quarterbacks, hard to decide. But if I didn't say I was for the Eagles, then I'd be sleeping alone. My wife's a Philly girl.
Game or commercials?
Game.
Game or halftime show?
Game.
Jason Kelsey or Travis Kelsey?
Mama Kelsey. I understand she makes great chocolate chip cookies.
Deviously plotting to
Damn,
rig the
that
season
Riz.
so the Chiefs would make the Super Bowl, or the Chiefs just being a good football team?
I'd get in trouble if I told you.
Trump or Biden?
Are you kidding? Biden.
Chiefs or Niners?
Damn, he's killing it. He's doing it. He's fucking doing it. You can't ban TikTok now. Joe Biden's hitting his stride. He's finally going to fulfill his lifelong dream of being a TikTok superstar. It can't be banned now. It's not getting shut down no matter what. Joe ain't got nothing on Hillary. She was dabbing with the best of them. Did she dab? I don't remember that. I remember the Pokemon go to the polls, and I remember... I don't think it was Hillary, but there was some other politician that did like the sexy grind trend, which was an interesting strategy. The White House also briefed around 70 digital content creators and influencers, many who are prominent on TikTok, ahead of Biden's State of the Union speech on Thursday. Multiple polls have found TikTok to be the top source of news for Gen Z and an increasingly popular source for Americans overall. What does this mean? The White House briefed around 70 digital content creators and influencers. What, do they have content creators on staff? They call the State of the Union internally for their 70 content creators on TikTok? Guys, get in here. Big news. DEFCON. We're going to try to meet the American people where they are, White House Press Secretary Karen Jean-Pierre told reporters when asked if the campaign's embrace of TikTok sent a conflicting message. It doesn't mean we're not going to try to figure out how to protect our national security. The bill marks the latest effort in what has become one of Washington's longest-running tech dramas, which began in August 2020 when President Trump ordered ByteDance to sell TikTok. Yeah, I thought that's what happened, too. I thought I remembered reading they did. That effort was held up in court, and for most of the Biden administration, the company's fate in the U.S. has hinged on a long-awaited and still pending decision from the Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S. Last year, the White House National Security Council threw its support behind the Restrict Act, a different bill aimed at TikTok that has languished in the Senate. Gallagher called on Biden to address the threat posed by TikTok's Chinese ownership in the State of the Union address. It's incumbent upon him to talk about our foremost national security threat, which is Chinese Communist Party, and this is part of that threat. I think the president would be wise to focus squarely on what we can do together, as Republicans, as Democrats, as Americans, to stand up to increasing communist aggression. There was a time when Vine was the biggest. Yeah, but Vine didn't get shut down by the government. It got shut down by the creators.
You're all going to die down here.
Yes. Home sounds nice. Everyone deserves a home. Sounds interesting. Yes. That's a good idea. Oh my. Become a hero? You mean like boy man? A boy with all the powers of a man? A whole community of people. Training's not over. Look at all these people training at exclusive workshops. Video chats, holy shit, they're dragging me into the 21st century kicking and screaming. Super tools, goodness me. You mean like the fuck saw? A dildo at the end of a jigsaw so... What is this? What?
I really like how you snuck this one in there, because you started off with some really objectively good ideas, like crowdsourcing your subtitles and translations, people being able to help each other on the forums and shit, but then you took this nice little donut and you tried to sneak in a diarrhea filling, and you expect people to take a bite and swallow it without noticing. That's like if I started a campaign and I said something like, we're gonna go on picnics, we're gonna watch movies, we're gonna round up all the minorities and gas them, and then we're gonna play some video games, and we're gonna... Wait a minute. What did he just say about... What was that about minorities? Gas them? Wait, that sounds a little fishy. What the fuck?
There's an old French proverb, appetite comes with eating. That's exactly what's going on here. All of us are perpetually eating YouTube's ass that they're feeding us, and we have an insatiable appetite for more ass. And just when you thought YouTube didn't have any more anus to pop in our mouths, they come out with this stupid fucking idea, YouTube Heroes, which is bar none the stupidest name they could have given anything ever. Why not give it a cooler name like Turbo Tubers or U-Turbos, or pretty much anything incorporating the word turbo into the project, because I really like that word and it'd be cool to see it catch on. But regardless of whatever juvenile name they would have chosen for this, it is an inherently abysmal idea, just absolutely terrible in all regards. Yes, subtitling videos, that is something that should be rewarded, that is not bad at all, but the problem is rewarding someone for flagging videos, that's dangerous.
I also really like how you add this air of legitimacy and accountability by just telling us that they will have to earn this perk. You know, they're gonna have to collect points, they're gonna have to prove themselves as good members of our community and shit like that. But of course, that's all a distraction from the fact that all you're doing is adding another layer between the YouTuber and YouTube. Anytime any YouTuber has a fucking problem, they are defenseless. They cannot contact YouTube, they cannot get help, and now all this does is give YouTube another excuse. If you complain to YouTube and say, hey, my video got flagged by accident, or you know, it's not supposed to get flagged, it's all fine, they're gonna just tell you, oh, have you talked to your friendly neighborhood YouTube hero yet?
We've all seen how easily abused YouTube's flagging system is right now, and to reward someone for abusing it, that makes no sense. It's like YouTube is hearing these complaints, they're actually hearing them, and are just doing the exact opposite to try and make them worse. Oh, so you don't like them being abused? Let's make it a little easier. How about that, pussies, huh? You like that? We'll flop our cocks right on your chins, and you're not gonna do anything about it because you have nowhere to go.
But of course the funniest part about this is how you act as though this was some sort of new and revolutionary technology or idea that's really gonna shift the tides of war against these mean cyber bullies and their hate speech, when in reality this is just the same old shit. This is exactly what YouTubers have been bitching about for years now, because this is the same power every copyright holder is wielding already. Companies like Disney go on YouTube and they flag thousands upon thousands of videos on an automated system, and now you think that it's a good idea to take that power of mass destruction and give it to fucking some dork douchebag who's going to just implement his own subjective ideas of morality and ethics. Great, so we've been getting skull-fucked by copyright holders all these years, and YouTube's idea is to turn it into a spit roast. Awesome.
So you reward them for flagging these videos and then give them the option to mass flag videos? What's to stop a YouTube hero from targeting someone they don't like, mass flagging all their videos and getting their account taken down? Yeah, a bigger channel will come back eventually once they get it sorted out with the network, but a smaller channel is gone completely. They're not coming back because they don't have a network to support them or fight for them. So if a YouTube hero saw my grandmother making Minecraft Let's Plays and just didn't like the way she handled her Let's Playing career, they could take her ass down, and then I'd have to console my crying grandmother who doesn't understand why she can no longer make Minecraft videos and tell her, look, Grandma, I'm sorry, your shit just got blasted by a hero.
And of course we understand that you have limited resources, but you cannot just take certain members of a community, give them special perks and tell them that they now have the ability to exercise their power on the rest of the community. That simply doesn't work, and it goes downhill every single time. Has no one at YouTube read the fucking Stanford prison experiment? It doesn't end well.
You don't need me to go any further explaining how easily abused this is or how bad for the website overall this system is. But let's say I want to take advantage of this. I want some better fucking rewards than just being able to talk to the YouTube losers and being able to beta test their stupid ideas next. Why would I care to try out whatever their next awful idea is? The fucking YouTube whiffer, where I can smell YouTube videos? That doesn't get me excited to take advantage of your system. If I'm gonna be taking down innocent YouTube videos, I want a better reward for it. When I take shit down, I want it to say, your shit got fucked by Charlie, then I want a picture of Brendan Fraser, and then I want to be able to have a catchphrase or a slogan for every video I take down. Something really corny, some real 80s action movie shit. Something like,
the YouTube streets are dirty, I'm the cleaner.
Or,
you know what you are, what you're made of. War is in your blood. Don't fight it. You didn't flag for your country, you flagged for yourself. The gods are never gonna make that go away. When you're pushed, flagging's as easy as breathing.
Or,
The accumulated filth of all their toy unboxing videos and drama reports will foam up about their waists, and all the clickbaiters and all the view whores will look up and shout, "Save us!" And I'll whisper, "Video flagged."
you know, just something that makes me feel like a badass, because as a YouTube hero, I want to feel badass. If I'm going to pursue a career as a full-time YouTube hero, I want some good rewards for it. I'm not getting paid for wasting my time, so I might as well at least look cool while doing so.
But hey, far be it from us to try and give YouTube any tips, because if the past is any indication, YouTube will again just take every fucking piece of feedback and criticism and label it as trolling and tell us to go fuck ourselves and still implement this idea, just like they did with all the rest of their stupid ideas, just like Google+, just like YouTube Red, YouTube Gaming, and of course the automated subtitles, which for 10 years have not been improved and have been little more than a fucking running gag, a gimmick. And I assume that this initiative at this point is meant to replace it, but like I said, I don't want a diarrhea donut. Thank you.
No. I don't know why so many people think I'm going to TwitchCon this year. I've been inundated with emails asking me if I'm going. I'm not going to TwitchCon. I don't stream on Twitch. I don't use Twitch. I don't even like Twitch. I don't like the way it's run as a company. I don't like the favoritism and the selective enforcement of their rules. I don't have any respect for the micro-dicked mod team over there. I don't use it as a campsite. I just watch porn like any civilized 21st century man would do. I'm not a fucking caveman who needs strip teases and softcore porn on Twitch. I don't use it as background noise. I'd rather listen to a 10-hour compilation of people farting into their microphone than listen to half the streamers over there. I just really don't like Twitch. I don't know why so many people think I was going. The thought never even crossed my mind. I don't know when TwitchCon is, but I'm guessing it's just around the corner based on how many emails I'm getting asking if I'm going. I'm not. I don't know who's perpetuated this rumor that I'll be attending. Maybe it's Twitch themselves. Hey guys, look, this guy's going. This guy's not going. I've never been to a single convention, let alone going to one that I don't even like. It'd be like if Alexander Graham Bell went to a Minecraft convention. It just wouldn't make any sense. The mathematics don't add up. And yes, I am comparing myself to Alexander Graham Bell. He invented some useless shit, whereas I invented coconut kalimba art, baby. Brace for Teriyaki Boys theme. You're welcome for the free concert. Yeah, I won't be attending TwitchCon this year, though. I make it no secret that I'm not a huge fan of Twitch, or really any fan of Twitch. Not even a man who would hear the name Twitch and be like, well, maybe. There's no maybe. I don't like Twitch. I really don't. Not in its current form. I don't know if people are asking me as a joke, knowing I'm not a fan of Twitch and I don't use the platform. You know, like, oh, ho, ho, are you going to TwitchCon? Oh, ho, ho, nope. I'm not going to TwitchCon. I do not like Twitch with a vest. I do not like Twitch with a nest. I do not like Twitch eggs and breast. I wouldn't even go there as a joke. I wouldn't go there just to use their shitters if I had to pee-pee really bad because I've been holding it in for 3 hours. I'd rather just let my urethra explode. Now, if you do like Twitch, I don't hate you for it. I don't think you have bad taste either. And I think you might have a lot of fun at TwitchCon. I don't know exactly what goes on there besides cheating on your wife, but I think you would probably have a good time if you're a fan of the platform. I'm not. Thus, I probably wouldn't have a good time. And I don't even use the platform, so I don't know why the fuck I would even go. But, I mean, another thing that would prevent me from going, I'm terrified of flying. I'm really afraid of flying. I would have a hard time getting on a plane to save my grandmother if she got kidnapped by King Cobra and taken to Michigan. That's only a 2-hour flight from here. You really think I'd even toy with the notion of getting on a plane for butt-fucking useless TwitchCon? Get out of town. But yeah, you know, I hope I've cleared up the confusion that's been plaguing the internet the last couple of days on whether or not I'll be attending TwitchCon. No, I will not be.